Welcome in, everyone, to episode 42 of the Memes, Dreams, 32 Teams podcast. We are back with the final episode before the NFL season. I'm Justin.
I'm Eddie, and we are 24 hours and 2 minutes from kickoff of the NFL season.
I was like, we're cutting it close.
Yeah.
We are cutting it extremely close. But tomorrow's football.
Tomorrow is football.
Give me one word right now that, like, if you could sum up how you're feeling about football coming back. That is age appropriate.
Ready. I think that's about as good as I can put it.
I am. I'm trying to think of a word. I don't think there's a word that exists for what I'm feeling. I want like 7 words just jam packed.
If there was something for super excited and super scared and
super hopeful
and ready to be hurt again, and
that's the worst part. Is I've been starting to have like higher hopes for the Cowboys the past few seasons. And then like last season, I mean, Dak was on pace for 6,000 yards, and I was like, oh, this might be it. We may have a playoff run. And then he got hurt, and then I got hurt.
And then
and then I stopped watching football.
I saw some earlier today talking about Dirk Carter who is the Falcons' current offensive coordinator. Since Matt Ryan has been there, we have had 4 losing seasons. All 4 losing seasons have been with this offensive coordinator. So
maybe you should change.
I've been crying about that for about 2 years now. So,
but let's jump into this episode because this is gonna be a long one. So for anyone listening, watching on Twitch, watching on YouTube, listening, Spotify, SoundCloud, however you are digesting it, this is gonna be a long episode. So enjoy. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna start like normal with any updates and news that have happened between our last episode and this episode. So currently, Le'Veon Bell, he signed with the Ravens practice squad because Justice Hill tore his Achilles and he's out for the season.
So that is now, if you're keeping track, the second Ravens running back that is now out for the season. A lot of Ravens news this week, actually.
Yeah, actually a lot. So yeah, Justice Hill's injured. They signed Le'Veon Bell. He goes to the practice squad. They have said that when they deem he is ready, he will be moved up to the starting roster. But I still feel like this is Gus Edwards' team. It's his job to lose at this point.
If he stays healthy, then he should have no problem with that. This rate.
True. This isn't the first season that the Ravens have had running back health issues. It seems to be an ongoing trend for the past few years.
Which doesn't really. I don't understand how it keeps creeping up on them like that. I guess is the best way to say.
Yeah.
It's like the universe just wants Lamar Jackson to have the most yards on that team.
They want the Lamar Jackson as a running back meme to excel. That's pretty much what they're looking for, right?
I mean, this could be a conversation for another day, but say Lamar Jackson does transition to a full-time running back, and then they get somebody that's floating around, Ryan Fitzpatrick, since he likes to jump teams every year. That would be a scary team.
I just don't want to think of like a Lamar Jackson team where he's set to be a running back, but then he can still throw the ball accurately 70 yards.
Be like Tyson Hill on steroids.
Oh, look, it's him as a quarterback.
He can also run 70 yards.
Yeah, it's... Dual threat quarterbacks have the highest upside, but then I would say the lowest downside, because if they're not... It's... What is the saying? Like, you're supposed to be... If you're
not...
It's like a master of... You're not like... Jack of all trades, master of none. You know what I'm trying to say? There's saying for it.
I was trying to think about this the other day too, in different contexts, but yeah, I don't know what it is exactly. I could not for the life of me figure it out.
A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So that was from William Shakespeare, as the full quote.
Thanks, Willie.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the Ravens. But they did lock down this week their tight end Mark Andrews with a 4-year, $56 million extension, which I think that's worth.
He's top 5. Wouldn't say he's top 3, but he's top 5.
That pays 14 per year, which I think is a reasonable price for him. I don't think they overpaid. I think he got paid what he's worth.
Yeah. Both sides should be very happy with that. Again, I have no idea what their salary cap situation is, their money situation is for this year or the next 4, but I can't imagine that that's money well spent.
Yeah.
However you want to say it.
Definitely, especially since they don't pay any of the running backs because they all get.
I wouldn't pay him either at this rate.
I think them getting rid of Mark Ingram was a mistake.
Yes, he was about their only consistent running back for the past couple years that I can remember them having.
So, speaking of running backs, though, Latavius Murray was released from the Saints, which, I don't know.
For them drafted him in the 12-man leagues.
Yeah, that is very true. But I mean, we know that Alvin Kamara is going to get the bulk of the work.
Yeah.
So I don't see.
It's not a loss.
I'm not really shocked to this.
No. Between Kamara and Tyson Hill, I don't think they'll have any problem getting yards on the ground.
No. This team, the offense now is just going to be, can Winston not throw interceptions? That's it. That's all.
Honestly,
that's all it is.
Yeah.
So
and we'll see. This will be the first season now that since he's had eye surgery that we'll actually be able to see. Yeah, that we'll be able to see what he can actually do.
It'll be exciting.
We'll talk about how we feel that's going to work for him.
Quick thing, Josh Norman did sign with the 49ers. They did sign him for depth, which I don't think is a bad decision. I think he's a veteran. He brings veteran experience. Yeah, he's sort of a loudmouth, but I would rather have someone who's a loudmouth and can. Josh Norman has been able to back it up. Not
he can
all the time, but there is a lot of times where he is definitely. I would say there have been times where he's a top 10 cornerback in the league.
For sure.
So the 49ers getting him for basically nothing, I think is a win. I don't see any downside to that.
What do you know what the contract is off the top of your head? I'm assuming it's probably vet minimum for a year.
Yeah, I think it's just vet minimum. But speaking of a vet making minimum, Danny Amendola did sign with the Texans for $2.5 million, which we've talked about the Texans before. It's a bunch of just. I think you said this when we talked about them. It's a bunch of players past their prime who were relevant and maybe aren't so much anymore.
I mean, sticking to that same thing with Danny Amendola.
Yeah, he fits right in.
Which I don't think he's ever been. I mean, he's definitely made defenses have to look at him for sure, but he's never been that guy.
I would say he was when he was in New England with Tom Brady. When Welker retired, I feel like Amendola fit the role perfectly.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess was Edelman there at the same time with Welker?
Like I don't know if all three of those guys were at the same time, but it seems like they were.
I feel like they were.
But I don't know. Just Amendola going there, it just feels like the Texans are scraping the barrel, trying to find any talent they can.
Anybody who will play for him,
and
knowing that they aren't going to have a great season.
And we know that Tyrod Taylor is their starter. He was named the starter for Week 1. Deshaun Watson fell to 3rd on the depth chart, which I think is the smart decision. Like I think Watson should not play until his legal case is figured out. So
exactly.
I would hope that they don't let him play until it's done, but we've seen teams do things that don't make sense. So I won't bet on it.
I would avoid the Texans.
If
I was the Texans, I would avoid anything Deshaun Watson right now until something settled one way or the other.
Yep.
But that's off the field. Tyrod Taylor's their guy Week 1, and for the foreseeable future, I guess, until we hear otherwise, it's going to be Tyrod Taylor. Yeah. Which I like Tyrod Taylor. Again, he's not amazing, but he's always been a solid backup.
He is a very serviceable quarterback.
Yes,
that's the best way to put it. I don't think there's. I wouldn't put him any higher than that, to be honest.
He started for the Bills for a couple of seasons, didn't he?
Yeah. He was there until Josh Allen came in, and then Josh Allen had a weird rookie season. It wasn't like amazing, but it was kind of up and down. and they were like, actually, we see a lot in this guy. So they were like, we're going to cut Tyrod Taylor. And I was shocked at first. Because I was like,
But now
that's a
we see
lot to put
Josh
into
Allen.
your second-year guy who wasn't amazing in his rookie season. And then I was
And then
wrong.
his sophomore season.
I was wrong. Here he is.
Yeah.
Almost MVP Josh Allen. Almost Super Bowl contending Josh Allen. So
I like Tyrod Taylor. I think that's the right play for sure, the right thing to do. I don't think it's going to do much for their season as a whole.
I mean, they play Jacksonville week 1, so like
it'll be a good warm up.
Yeah,
for both sides.
Yeah,
that's a scrimmage that just happens to count.
But let's jump into the first half of this episode, which is going to be any season predictions. It's going to be sort of all over the place, guys. There's really no structure to it.
No.
But let's start with. I don't want to get to our our playoff teams yet. I want to do the opposite.
Okay.
I want to start with who do you think, in your mind, will have the number 1 draft pick?
Lions. A very common place for the Lions.
I want to check another team's schedule real quick to see if I believe that the Lions may win an extra game over them.
I've got. Well, I'm sure
the Lions are top 2 for me. They're definitely going to be a top 2 pick. I'm just trying to decide if they fall with quotes to 2.
Who's your other one?
Hold on, I'll say in a second. I just want to. I'm looking at the schedule. I don't want to. Yeah, Detroit's gonna have the number 1 pick. I don't like their schedule.
No.
And then I think it goes to Jacksonville at number 2.
So I actually have Jacksonville at number 3.
I don't trust Jacksonville.
I don't either. Actually.
Who do you have at number 2 then?
So we went through and we predicted. If anyone doesn't know, there's a wonderful website called playoffpredictors.com. You can go through and pick every game for the season, and it'll seed everybody for each division, the conference. It'll do all the tiebreakers, et cetera, et cetera. And on that, one of the things it'll do is show you the draft order. So my top 3 are first pick Lions, second pick Steelers, third pick Jaguars.
Oh, you have the Steelers low.
This is just like we were talking about earlier today. I just ran through it one time. I didn't think too much about it. Just, Cleveland should win this game. Yeah, Jacksonville might win this game. Yeah, my Dolphins are going to win this game. I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into a lot of it. This just knee-jerk reactions all the way through, and ends up with Pittsburgh with the second pick in the draft.
I think it's Detroit, then Jacksonville. I don't think the Steelers fall that far. I can't see them having a top 5 pick in the draft.
If I go back through and redo it and spend more than 30 minutes looking at it, because I'd be surprised if I spent more than 30 minutes looking at it. I'd be surprised. Maybe cusping top 10 pick.
So like, let's take your prediction that you did for that out of the way. Who do you think will be the top 3 picks? Because I see Detroit, Jacksonville for sure being there.
Mm-hmm.
And then
either the Texans or the Broncos.
So I don't think it's going to be the Broncos.
I don't have high hopes for the Broncos at all. I like Teddy Bridgewater.
I think Bridgewater will win them a few games, so I don't think they end up bottom 3. I think they definitely have a chance of being top 5 pick, like right on the outside 4 or 5. I just don't think they're 3. The teams that I could see being 3, I could see the Jets. I could see the Bengals. I could see the Texans. I could see the only other one is the Panthers.
So the more you talk about a lot of this, the more I realize our predictions are going to be very different. Apart from, I think playoffs are going to be very similar, but everything else is going to be very different.
Yep.
Because I have my top 6. I'll just read off my top 6 from what I did. Lions, Steelers, Jaguars, Texans, Broncos, Giants.
Yeah, I think 3 ends up being the Texans, honestly. I think the Titans and Colts run away with that division. It's like a 2-headed What do they call it? Two-headed
beast.
beast? Is that what the phrase is?
Yeah.
Two-headed monster?
Two-headed monster. Yeah, that works too.
A two-horse race?
That would work too.
I guess. I don't know. I think it's Titans Colts for sure. Like, they run away with the South. One of them wins it, obviously. But the other one's like close behind. And I think the Jags and the Texans just don't exist pretty much.
So, well, going off of that, what division, just overall in the NFL, what division is the worst as a whole? Or highest draft picks, least wins, or however you want to do it.
I think it's the South.
AFC South?
Yeah.
NFC South. Okay. I agree with that, but I have the Colts way lower than you.
The thing is I just have I want to hope, right? I want to hope that Carson Wentz can exist in the NFL.
Exist. Okay.
I didn't say be MVP. I just that he exists. I want to hope. Okay.
I wouldn't mind seeing him get back to that season he was having before he got injured.
You know, honestly, I don't care how he plays. I just want to see him play a full season.
Just once.
I want to see him finish the season so I can be like, you did it. You did it. But
good job.
I think if he plays the whole season, I think they have a chance of going far. Not Super Bowl far, like wild card.
You have them in wild card?
We'll have to look through it again, but I think they're either a wild card team or right on the cusp. I see them being on
the opposite end of that.
I see them being a 6th through 9th seed in the AFC.
You are way higher on the Colts than I am. Then I don't think the Colts got it this year at all.
Well, let's talk about playoffs then. Let's start with the AFC. Why don't we just jump straight into that?
All right.
Our division winners, I think, are the same.
With the exception of the North, probably.
I have Bills, Browns, Titans, Chiefs.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that your 1 through 4? Or is that just
my 1 through 4 is going to be Chiefs, Bills. The Chiefs have the 1 seed. I don't see them not being the 1 seed. Like, let's be frank. There's little doubt in my mind that they are not the 1 seed. They're going to be the 1 seed.
I'd be very surprised if they aren't the 1 seed.
2 through 4 could be any 3 of the other teams.
I agree with that. But again, I just went through and let it ride. However, it fell for me.
I'm going to say
I'm going
to go
the Chiefs, Titans, and the Bills 1, 2, and 3, all within a game of each other.
I was going to say Chiefs, Titans, Bills, Browns. Is how my top 4 will go.
I have Browns at.
Now the fun part is who goes 5, 6, 7, because we're definitely going to be different. I'd say.
I'm gonna say so.
Who do you think is the 5th seed? The best non-division winner.
The best non-division winner is the Ravens. I actually have them tied with Browns.
I am going to put the Dolphins at 5.
Is there a way to see what the tiebreaker is on here?
Yeah, if you hover over, if you go to conference on that little thing, you can switch to the conference standings and then go over to the left. It'll show a little star on their placement.
I see it. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I have the Dolphins at 5.
Okay.
And then at 6, who are you putting at 6?
I got the Chargers. I'm very high on Justin Herbert and that defense. Honestly, not 100% sure why, but something about that team. They've been so close for so many years. I think this is finally the year they have a breakthrough season.
I think the Ravens are 6 for me.
So you have Dolphins, Ravens. If Chargers is your 7, we have the same 3 wild card.
I'm really high on them, but I'm nervous that Herbert's inexperience is going to bite them in the butt. And that's why I'm going to put the Colts at 7.
Okay. Yeah, no, Colts are not that high for
Then
me.
you go Dolphins 7.
I have Dolphins at 7. Um, with it being now 24 hours away from the season, I was just flipping through Twitter earlier,
Mm-hmm.
seeing a lot of the ESPN guys, the NFL guys, everybody's putting out their predictions now. Uh, I saw a lot of for AFC side, probably 75% had the Patriots in the wild card, if not more than 75%.
I'm just not high on Mac Jones.
So yeah, I was gonna say, where do you have in your prediction? Where do you have the Patriots at?
Remember, mine got wiped, so I can't look at it.
Oh, that's right.
I honestly have the Patriots. I'm going off gut. That's why
Mm-hmm.
I asked you to go off of gut.
Yeah,
I have the Patriots honestly like 10th, 11th in the AFC.
that's where I've got them.
They're not good enough to fight for a wild card, but they're not bad enough to be a terrible team. They're kind of existing right now.
They have the opportunity to do very well, but a lot of that relies on rookie Mac Jones.
I would say all of it's on Mac Jones.
I mean,
because
majority of it, yes.
They don't have anyone behind them that I would be confident in without Cam Newton now.
And they have such a tough schedule.
If Mac Jones doesn't play well, they can't bench him and go to someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they literally can bench him and go to someone else. But
yeah, but who's the someone else?
You don't improve when you bench him. You either stay the same or you regress. And if he's not playing well, you don't want to take a step back on top of that.
They have Jared Stidham as optional or out right now. Is the only other quarterback on their depth chart. He's on the pup list.
I don't trust the Patriots, honestly.
They're putting everything in Mac Jones.
Whatever they saw, I mean, power to you, but
we said it whenever they released Cam Newton. That was not a smart play. That was not the thing to do.
I don't think it was. I think it's gonna bite them in the butt, and that's why I hope Cam Newton goes somewhere and finds success, and basically just like tells the Patriots look, you messed up.
Yeah.
So
it's rough. That's the biggest thing, because if Mac Jones is not who they were hoping they are, they're gonna have a very high draft pick.
Yep. I agree.
And I mean, I'm okay with it. Patriots dynasty is finally over.
Yeah. Thank God.
Thank God.
God, it's been over.
But now it moved to Tampa Bay.
Yeah. The Tom Brady dynasty just moved.
So yeah. But let's look at the NFC side. And ask you the same question. Which division do you think is going to be the worst in the NFC?
I think the worst division overall is going to be... I'm stuck between two. And it's not the two... One of them is not... The East is not in my bottom two. I'll put it that way.
Division winner aside, because they're gonna look better than...
I'm trying to look at the division as a whole, and I
got the NFC South.
I think the North is the worst. Because I'm thinking of the Andy Dalton-led Bears.
And the Lions.
And we know my feeling about Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. So, I think the North is the worst division. I think they're going to have the toughest time, trying to get wins.
If you're saying the Andy Dalton-led Bears,
I'm thinking of how the division is right now as a group.
Okay.
Obviously, if Justin Fields plays, I think the Bears do better.
Yeah.
But in this, right now, I think the North is the worst. So,
I'm not even going to ask you think the best is.
The West is the best. They could send all 4 teams to the playoffs. Let's be real. All 4 teams could make the playoffs.
And that's how it worked out for me.
Did you have all 4 go?
All 4. My first knee-jerk reaction, we ended up having all 4 go.
So, I really want to say all 4 go. I really do.
It's going to be really tough if that ends up happening.
But let's before we get there, I want you to run me through your division winners. North, South, East, West.
North got the Packers.
Yep.
South got the Bucks.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. East, Cowboys.
Perfect. I love it.
West, Cardinals. It's just how it worked out. Not by much, but Cardinals.
Did you say the team with the red logo that's like a bird?
Yeah, the bird one. Yeah.
Like that?
Like Larry Fitzgerald. Kurt Warner, Super Bowl.
Interesting.
Cardinals.
Interesting.
I know.
Mine are Packers, Bucks, Cowboys. Rams.
Rams are another one that I was very high on. I am still very high on.
And you're obviously 5, 6, 7 West, but in what order?
Yeah.
So you have the Cardinals win the division.
Yep.
Who's 5?
Rams.
6?
Seahawks. 49ers.
Okay, the 49ers. 7. Okay.
I know we said it.
My prediction is gonna be very shocking. I'm gonna say 5, 6, 7 is gonna be very shocking. I'm gonna go.
Hold on before we get that far. Who do you have winning the West?
The Rams.
Or all the divisions? Okay, you did say that.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Packers,
sure.
Bucks, Cowboys, Rams.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So 5, Seahawks.
Yep.
And 6 and 7 are. Ooh, this is spicy. I am going bold here. 6 is Washington.
Okay. I had a feeling.
You will not guess 7.
You finally have faith in Kirk Cousins?
No.
Who would your 7 be?
I have faith in someone else who I probably shouldn't have faith.
Jameis Winston?
Yes, sir. I think the Saints. I just have this weird feeling, man, that Winston's going to just show up and throw for 5,500 yards and 45 touchdowns.
It's hard to do bad if you can throw for over 5,000 yards in a season. It's hard for your team to do bad because usually if you're throwing for 5,000 yards in a season, you're going to put a lot of points on the board. Yep. That's just how that works out.
I really wanted to do the West all the way through. I really did.
I did not do any tinkering, anything like that. That's just how it worked out for me. Which I was very shocked about. I didn't think it was actually going to work out that way.
The odds of the entire West making the playoffs, like, it just doesn't. It doesn't add up to me.
It's bound to happen eventually. With 7 teams from each side in the playoffs, it's bound to happen.
I mean, it's going to happen eventually. I don't know, man. I just can't do
it. Right now, they're the only division I see doing it in the NFL. And
I would say they're the first place to do that. If we had to rank them, they'd be the first. And then the other West, I think, is the second.
Yes.
Highest chance.
If the Broncos can figure it out, or if Bridgewater's their guy.
I mean, honestly, with how good the Broncos defense is, all Bridgewater needs to do is be serviceable, to be honest with you. Like he doesn't need to go out and throw for 5,500 yards. He just needs to not be terrible.
He needs to not turn it over.
Yeah. So, but I'm just going to jump straight to it. I'm not going to break it down matchup by matchup.
No.
Who are your Super Bowl teams?
Repeat.
I'm not excited to say mine. I just don't want to say them.
Mine's a repeat.
Same.
Yeah. They're too good. The Bears, the other B team, the Bucks did not change anything. They literally re-signed all 22 starters after winning the Super Bowl. They didn't get worse.
They took the Super Bowl team and just went, shift, go.
They didn't get worse. That's all there is to it. And unfortunately, that generally means they're going to perform about the same, if not a little bit worse than last year.
I think what keeps them from
was the Super Bowl.
Making the Super Bowl is a serious injury somewhere.
Depending on where that is, yes.
I think it depends on who it is, too.
Yeah. If they lose Tom Brady, that's going to hurt. If they lose Leonard Fournette, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to hurt as bad.
I think if Tom Brady gets injured and he's out for, I would say, at least 8 weeks, I don't think they make the Super Bowl.
At least 8 weeks.
Because if he's out for 6, they can still make the playoffs at 11-6 and win the Super Bowl. Sort of like they did last year.
Yeah.
So, and they'll probably win the division even at 11-6, to be honest with you.
Are the Bucks your 1 seed?
The Bucks and Chiefs are my 1 seed, both sides. I think.
Yep. I really don't want it to be that way, but unfortunately, that's just the way that I see it going. I would love to see Tennessee or Buffalo get in there. I would love to see Washington sneak through.
Let's do just real quick, and then I'm gonna bring you back to another question. Obviously, we both have a repeat. Bucks Chiefs. Do you think Mahomes is able to pull it together this time, or do you think Tom Brady prances to another Super Bowl victory? Because he didn't make it look that hard.
No.
He sort of walked and had a Super Bowl trophy handed to him.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, that's why he's the GOAT, because that's what he does, is he makes it look easy.
Yeah. I mean, it's that was his 11th Super Bowl, 10th Super Bowl?
76th? I have no idea anymore.
Yeah.
I honestly stopped counting. Like, we do a podcast, I should know, but I just...
6 rings and 2 losses? 3 losses? 7 rings.
I have no idea anymore.
I can't count that high.
I honestly think my prediction is he gets another ring.
I have them winning as well. Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl over the Chiefs. Does Mahomes have it enough this year to finish it out?
I think Mahomes has the talent to do it.
That whole team has the talent.
I don't know what happened in the Super Bowl. The Bucks, whatever game plan the Bucks drew up for that game was literally perfect.
It's perfect. On both sides of the ball.
So
I'll ask you this though: who do you have the Bucks beating in the NFC conference?
I think they beat the Packers.
Okay. Say it goes the other way. Do you think the Chiefs beat the Packers in the Super Bowl?
Yes.
I think the only team that they lose to is the Bucks.
In the playoffs, yes. I think the Chiefs will lose a game or two in the regular season.
Yes. But when it counts, season, I see them only losing to the Bucks.
So my question is, alternate universe. The Chiefs and the Bucks are not your Super Bowl teams. Who do you see in the Super Bowl instead of those two teams?
Titans, Rams.
Why do you keep throwing these like? You're high on the Rams, but you don't even have them winning the division.
Nope. I have them as the 5 seed.
It makes no sense in my brain. I think if the Chiefs...
keep in mind, say this before you say that. I have all 4 from the West going.
Yeah.
So that means 2 of the matchups in week 1, assuming the winner of the division isn't the 1 seed. 2 of the divisions in week 1 are going to be division games. We'll see all 4 teams, all 4 of the NFC South or NFC West teams playing against each other.
No, only one game would be a division game. It'd be, say it's 2v7 and then 3.
Mine worked out that way. I have the Cardinals at 2, Rams at 5, Seahawks 6, San Francisco 7.
Yeah, 2v7, 3v6, and 4v5. They shouldn't be playing each other.
See, okay, yours just wiped your thing all the way. Mine just messed up all the seedings. Because on the right, it should be. 2, 5. Yeah, no, you're right. You're 100% correct.
It should be 2v7,
7, 3, 6.
3, 6, 4, 5, and then it reseeds in 1v lowest.
Yeah, mine has 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 2 and 7. Okay. So the website's not perfect.
Doesn't make any sense in my brain.
Yeah.
But I think if it's not Chiefs Bucks.
Yeah, not Chiefs Bucks. I've got Titans Rams. There's only a handful of teams that can do it. That can make it that far, in my opinion. But who is yours? Who's your alternate game?
You know, I'm gonna go crazy on one side. I'm gonna say Browns.
It's their year.
The thing is the Browns, they should have beat the Chiefs last year in the playoffs. Let's be honest. They should have.
If
they let Chad Henne run for like 9 yards on a play that he should have been sacked, and then they let Tyreek Hill do just a simple out route on a 4th and 1. I don't.
Anything is possible.
I just don't, man. I just don't. So
if it works out the way that I have it, with the Browns at 4, they win the wild card round. They'll get their redemption. Their chance at redemption.
I think that's how it will work out anyways. I think they will be the 4th seed. They will win their game. So will the 2 and 3. I think it will be Chiefs, Titans, Bills, Browns. 1 through 4 going to the next. It'd be Chiefs, Browns, Bills, Titans. And I think, is that the same playoffs from last season, to be honest with you?
I think it is, actually. Schedule 2020.
Down to the divisional round?
Championship.
No.
Oh, yeah, division.
Baltimore beat Tennessee in the wild card.
Okay. Dang. Is it going to be... Who all made the playoffs in the AFC last year? Hold on. Is this about to be almost a repeat?
No.
Pittsburgh and the Colts.
Yeah, those are the other 2 teams outside the Rams.
Well, AFC side, sorry.
I mean the Ravens. I don't know why it's the Rams.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I could see it being... I'm not very high on Pittsburgh this year. But I could see it being almost the exact same AFC side.
I mean, if you just put in Miami where Pittsburgh's at, it's my...
Yeah,
it's exactly. My 7. And then if you switch...
I mean, if that happens, it's 6 out of 7 for what I've got.
Wait, and if you just switch Chicago to Dallas, then it's those 7.
I don't have the Saints. Got the whole NFC West.
Yeah, you're...
So it'd be Bucks, and then,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I want to have hope, right? I want to have hope that it's not a repeat Super Bowl.
I would love to see just chaos. Like, let's have the Jets and the Bengals playing a divisional game in the playoffs. Let's have the Eagles and the Vikings playing a divisional game in the playoffs.
Probably not the Vikings. I don't want to be wrong about Kirk Cousins, please. I just don't.
Just naming random teams. But
can you name another one? The Lions.
There we go. Okay, let's be realistic.
The Bears and the Lions meet in the playoffs. Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate your contribution. Yeah, something's wrong. Yeah,
I would love to see that, because there's on both sides. There's about half the teams I can confidently say will not make playoffs.
Yep.
Half's a little much. Let's say there's 6 teams on either side I can confidently say will not make playoffs.
The AFC, yes. The NFC, no.
Yeah, and yeah. I guess on the NFC side, there's only about 3 teams.
Because you're working with 12 teams, because you put one whole division in the playoffs. So like let's narrow
I'm only
that
working,
down.
And then 3 of the other ones got to be division winners, so that only leaves me with 9 teams.
Yeah, good luck.
So, of those 9, 1, 2, 3 teams, I would confidently say 4 teams will not make the playoffs. 5, well, okay.
It's just hard to bet against a repeat Super Bowl. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, the Buccaneers, they brought their same exact roster that won a Super Bowl, so it's hard to say, like...
How do you say that they got worse, or so much worse that they won't make the Super Bowl again?
Or how do you like?
Or let me rephrase that.
Go ahead.
They kept the same exact team that they had last year. So how can you say they're going to do worse than they did last year? It just so happens last year was a Super Bowl win.
I mean,
I would say that about any team. If they brought back all 22 starters and then just built depth, I would not see them doing worse than they did the prior year.
And you can't even say that like they had it easy because they beat. Every time I see this, it doesn't make sense. They beat Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Mahomes into winning a Super Bowl. So like you can't say that they had it easy.
No, they had to run a gauntlet, quite literally.
3 of their losses in the regular season were losses by 3 points or less. One, and they got swept by Drew Brees.
Yeah, so
I don't know, man. It's hard to say they won't do it.
I don't want it.
Like I want to come on here and be like, yeah, controversial. Tom Brady won't win the Super Bowl. Blah 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 blah. But like,
it's just not in.
I can't do it. I just can't.
It's just legitimately not in the cards, and it hurts.
It frustrates me.
It hurts me. It hurts me as an NFC South follower, NFC South fan, however you want to say that. I don't want an NFC opponent or an NFC opponent to win the Super Bowl. But it seems to be the way it goes, unfortunately. It's been the Saints' chance forever. Saints are gone. Thought with Falcons or the rest of the division was finally going to like even out. And then here comes Tom Brady. So,
yeah.
Move on.
Who is your MVP of the season?
See, I love hate, and I think I said this last time whenever we were talking about MVP. The way that they do MVP, I hate it. Because MVP, the way that it's voted on is who has the best stats.
When it should be, if you took that player out, who would have the biggest swing in performance?
Exactly.
Which, to an extent, you can say the guy who has the biggest stats, but
if Jameis Winston throws for 7,500 yards and 82 touchdowns this year, I'm going to say he made a pretty big impact on the season.
He better win the Super Bowl.
That's yeah.
That's a lot of points.
It's only like 5 touchdowns a game. Yeah. But like the way that I wish they would do the MVP is like you said, if he was not a part of the team, how much would that affect the team? How much would that hurt?
The last non-quarterback to win MVP was 2012, and it was Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Then before that, it was 6 years prior with LT in 2006.
When was the last defensive?
1986, and it was Lawrence Taylor. And then this makes no sense to me. I didn't look at this, but 1982, there was a kicker.
Okay, I'm voting for that.
He got 35% of the votes. No, he got 35 votes, which is 41%.
Huh.
What did he do that season?
Yeah, I'm gonna need to.
1982. What did you do, friendo?
He better have been 100%.
You played 9 games. I don't even want to read the rest of it. It makes no sense. He went 20 for 21 from field goal and 16 for 19 from extra point. But that was before the extra point was moved back. So he missed 3 chip shots.
Today. He would be fired today. He would only play 9 games in a season if that was the case. He'd be gone. That ain't right.
What? Why?
Okay, but moving on from
there was only 9 games that season.
80, what'd you say, 83?
82.
Interesting.
Huh. Look at that. They went 8-1. At the time, the Washington Redskins.
Okay.
And they won the Super Bowl.
Maybe he had the winning kick.
I'm actually looking into that. I can find out where that's at.
But while you're looking at that, since 1986, there's been 4 non-quarterbacks win, maybe 5 because you didn't name all of them, but about 5 non-quarterbacks won. And since 2000, there's been 8 non-quarterbacks in 35 years. That's the other 25 positions on the field.
Yep. It's going to be a quarterback. Unless Derrick Henry, because I think Derrick Henry's the only running back who has a chance of.
I was about to say, what would it take for Derrick Henry to take it away from?
He has to break the rushing record.
Okay, I don't think that's enough because I think that's almost guaranteed.
Well, I'm saying like minimum.
Oh, okay, yes.
Minimum, he has to break the rushing record,
which would be what 2,100 yards, give or take. There's
rushing record currently is 2,105 yards.
Okay.
Which, if you do that over the 17-game season, it's really simple. He just has to rush for 123 yards a game.
Which he almost did that last season.
He almost broke the record last season.
Yeah. So if he does what he did last season, this season with the extra game, he's got it.
He's actually 5th on the rankings.
So he needs 2106 divided by 17 games. You said it was 123.
It's like 124, I guess, if you count the point whatever.
Okay. What was his average last year per game?
I don't know, but he averaged 5.4 yards a rush.
I'm going to say
he's actually one of 2 players in the top 50 all-time rushing single-season leaders.
There you go, then.
The other one is Zeke, when he ran in 2016, 1,631 yards.
Dang.
So, but I think Derrick Henry has to run. He had, what was this season? 17 touchdowns, 2,027 yards.
I think he's got to get
like 2,220. Yeah, I think minimum he has to do that with another 500 and 5 touchdowns in receiving.
He's got to have one hell of a season for a running back at all to be in the talks. They have to have one hell of a season. And it sucks because he's competing against Ryan Tannehill, who's throwing to Julio and A.J. Brown and himself, Derrick Henry. So there's a lot that he's got to be the best player on that team for starters.
It's just tough because as time has gone on, we've gotten more and more into a passing league.
Yeah.
So a running back has to do much, much more than normal to make the MVP.
The only other, this would be an even longer shot than Derrick Henry, non-quarterback would be McCaffrey. But I don't think the Panthers are in a position
I don't think their offense is strong enough for him to do it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think my MVP for this season, I think it's going to be Mahomes. Because what I'm seeing is Mahomes is going to be sort of on a revenge tour.
He's going to go on a tear.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to see this season. I would not be shocked if he throws for 5,500 this season.
5,560 touchdowns?
I wouldn't say that's a lot of touchdowns. I wouldn't be shocked if he hit 60.
I wouldn't be shocked. I would actually love to.
That's just under 3.5, or that's about, no, that is right at 3.5 a game.
Oh, when you're talking about Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and
Mecole Hardman and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the team is stacked.
Yeah,
I just think Mahomes gets it. I think the top 3, in my opinion, who have a chance at quarterback are Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes. Now, and not in any order.
Okay.
Those are just the 3 names that if I had to put money on 3 guys, it's those 3.
It's insane. Aaron Rodgers is. I agree with you. I agree those 3. But the fact that Aaron Rodgers didn't do anything in the offseason, didn't show up to practice for the first month-ish, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna come play," and he's got a top 3 chance to be MVP, possibly make it to the Super Bowl. He's just.
Rodgers and Brady.
It's Rodgers.
Rodgers and Brady make football look simple.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of plays where if you just watch in slow motion, just them getting the snap and then seeing the guy and just throwing it, you're like, why don't more guys just do that?
It's so easy. Oh, you know that he's going to do a 3-step drop, Brady, Rodgers is going to do a 3-step drop. They're going to look left, wait for the guy to make a cut on the right side, and then just turn, throw.
Yep.
And he hits them 90% of the time.
The thing with
And it
Mahomes
just
is
seems so simple.
Mahomes is the opposite, where he makes everything that's really difficult look easy.
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh, I got to throw a cross body across field 70 yards right now.
While 3 of the defensive linemen are on
and he just does it. Like that's what Mahomes does.
I wonder if that has, this probably is way out there, but I wonder if that has anything to do with Rodgers and Brady are a part of the same generation. And then
I would say
Patrick Mahomes is part of the new generation.
I would say yes.
They just have different mentality doing that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lamar Jackson kind of has that same mentality. I would like to see Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray.
I would say Tua is trending that way. Kyler Murray is trending that way.
So
we talked about it last week. Dual threat quarterbacks are definitely starting to take over in a way. Dak is very similar. So dual threat quarterbacks are definitely starting to find a way in, while pocket quarterbacks are sort of getting squeezed out of teams, unfortunately.
That wouldn't be the case. I think a lot of teams like the appeal of a dual threat quarterback, one, mainly because you don't know what they're going to do every play. But that also gives the team, which if this is the case, this is a horrible mentality. But it feels like teams are like, all right, our quarterback knows what to do on his feet. He can make a play when he needs to. Our offensive line does not need to be $20 million a year.
Yeah. It's rough. But I just think Mahomes gets it, though, to wrap up the conversation. I think he gets MVP.
I got one more question on that.
Mm-hmm.
If not Mahomes,
Brady,
Rodgers, or Rodder, who? Still, I think it's going to be a quarterback. My next guess would be, my hopeful guess, I'll put it that way. If not those 3, who do you hope gets it?
Josh Allen.
Yep. That was exactly what I was going to say.
I just want to, I think it's unfortunate for Josh Allen right now that he is sort of overshadowed because Rodgers and Brady are still in the league. But I think when they are done, it's gonna be this Josh Allen Mahomes, Josh Allen Mahomes, Josh Allen Mahomes. Like it's gonna be just
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, it's gonna be something similar to that.
Yeah, he is literally Drew Brees right now of the new generation. Until Tom Brady and Rodgers are out of the league, which should be hopefully in the next 2 years. We can hope.
So, speaking of offensive players, though, let's talk about Offensive Player of the Year. This is not always, and actually looking at this, it's not even like 90% the person who wins MVP.
It's not?
No, because I'm looking at it. Derrick Henry, Michael Thomas, Mahomes, Todd Gurley, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, DeMarco Murray, Adrian Peterson won, Chris Johnson won.
So it's who gets second?
3 running backs: Priest Holmes, Marshall Faulk won 3 times, Terrell Davis, Barry Sanders, Barry Sanders again, Jerry Rice, Thurman Thomas. It's not always quarterbacks, actually. Like it's
okay.
It is very. Derrick Henry won last year, and I honestly I'm gonna say him again.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not gonna say him, I don't see a wide receiver winning it. I don't think we have a dominant wide receiver like Michael Thomas was in 2019, unless a quarterback is just throwing to him an absurd amount of times.
And if that's the case, it ended up being...
It's going to be a guy... It's going to be someone from Brady's team. I would say, the top people I can give, Devontae Adams at wide receiver. Yep. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, or Mike Evans. I think those are the top 4 wide receiver options for Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Because those guys link up with the 4 QB names that we had.
It's crazy. Yeah. And I think it's just ridiculous. Is this really the only... I mean, obviously everybody in the league has a chance. But are these really the only guys that have a legitimate chance at doing this?
I would say yes.
Because, we haven't even mentioned Aaron Donald. We haven't even mentioned Bosa.
Wait till we get Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, I understand that, but we're not... MVP, it's... The mentality is it's going to be offense. It's going to be who puts up the most points.
To me,
I am not a fan of that.
To me, a defensive player to win MVP has to either get minimum 2 sacks a game, because they have to be
30 sacks season.
I know it sounds crazy, but they have to be way out there in terms of stats that everyone goes,
wow,
that was crazy. We're gonna remember that season, right? Like that's the only way a defensive player, unfortunately, will win it. So like it'll be a linebacker or a defensive lineman who ends up with 30 sacks. And that's definitely breaking the record. I think it's like 7 or 8 sacks over the record. So
yeah,
because I don't think like a 25 sack season does it, which is a lot of sacks. I just don't see the voting committee going, you know what? 25 sacks was better than 5,500 yards passing. Like that conversation doesn't make sense to them.
No.
And for it to be a defensive back, I'm thinking like
they gotta have
like
minimum
30
one interception
turnovers
a game. Well, yeah, I was gonna say 1 interception a game and like a 5% completion record. No more than like a 20 QBR passing in their direction for the season.
The most interceptions in a season by one player is 14.
So yeah, 1 a game to even get close to getting on the radar.
So I would think 20 interceptions, but like that's just crazy, right? Like it's just not going to happen.
Unless they're playing a lot of blind quarterbacks who, or maybe they are just really good at baiting out the one-on-ones. Tyreek Hill streaks down the field, Stephon Diggs streaks down the field, and they just know how to get that extra step on them when it counts.
Yeah.
And they can do it every game.
I think offensive player, though, I think it's Derrick Henry. If it's not Derrick Henry, it's whatever quarterback won MVP. If it's not one of those quarterbacks, it's one of the 4 wide receivers I named.
Yeah, I don't see. Again, I would love to say Christian McCaffrey.
There's 9 names I think that are in the pool for offensive player of the year.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Which sucks because I want to have more of a conversation on it, but it's hard
That's
to
the way
when
the voting goes.
Yeah, it's hard to when it's pretty, cut and dry about it, right?
Then you look at the other side of the ball, and I think it really opens up a huge conversation.
As defensive players, all over the place, man. Like it's all over the place.
The Bosa brothers, Chase Young, Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, T.J.
Because
Watt,
all 11
J.J.
players,
Watt.
all 11 players on a defensive side can win the award, while not all 11 players on the offensive side can win the award.
I'd venture to say there's 3 players max on the offensive side that could win. Maybe 4 if they have a good tight end.
Yeah. But
on the defensive side, yeah, it could be any one of the 11.
Defensive side, I don't know. I think Nick Bosa should have won it last year.
Nick Bosa should have won it last year.
His stats last year were absolutely insane. TJ Watt. It was TJ Watt. My bad. I got the people mixed up. TJ Watt had 1 more interception than Donald, 1.5 more sacks, and 16 more solo tackles in 1 less game.
Yeah.
And he lost by 7 votes.
Which I remember we talked about that last year too. How?
It just doesn't make sense. I don't know how they mess it up.
Aaron Donald second totally makes sense.
I don't know. And then Xavier Howard got 3rd. He had 10 interceptions last season. So
you said the most in a season was 14. Yeah, 10 is insane too. That's 1 every other game. A little more than 1 every other game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a little bit of a homer here, and I'll do 2. Who do I think has a chance to win it and might win it? It's probably gonna be Aaron Donald. Same names: Aaron Donald, Nick Bosa, T.J. Watt, Chris Jones. Those would be my top 4. Myles Garrett's there too, but I feel like he's kind of starting to fall off.
Who?
Myles Garrett.
I wouldn't say he's falling off. I would say I think he dealt with injuries last season. I also think Joey Bosa has a chance coming back from injury as well.
Bosa brothers.
I think it's definitely going to be a defensive lineman that wins it this year.
Yeah. My hopeful defensive lineman is Montez Sweat, Hail State.
I mean, Montez Sweat
he's a monster. But so are the other 8 guys that we
I don't even want
named.
to think about, like, we have to play him twice this season. And I just don't. I don't want to think about it. Because we have to face, it's like, Montez Sweat. That's fine. We'll put an extra blocker on the left side. That's Chase Young.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna send 2 wide receivers out. Everyone else is blocking.
Yeah, pretty much. And then who is their backfield? Who is their I want to say safety, but now I'm thinking safety's wrong.
You're talking about Washington?
Hold on. Yes.
Are you thinking of, if I can find their name on my thing?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Are you thinking of Landon Collins? Because their defensive tackle, Jonathan Allen's also a beast. They have a really good defensive line, and I just do not want to face it.
Maybe it is Landon Collins. I don't think I'm thinking of Washington. So scratch that. I was thinking I was thinking of Patrick Peterson. I don't know why I was thinking of Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, he's not in Washington. I'm glad. Thank God. Just do not put him in Washington, man.
They're going to score. They will have average of 7 points scored against them. Right now, they're going to have an average of like 14 scored against them. Because you seriously have to have 6 blockers every play.
I think, man,
if not a defensive lineman, who? Because I think everyone we've talked about so far pretty much has been a defensive lineman.
If it's not a defensive lineman, that's...
And that, I mean, it's not as many for sure. There's a handful: Tre'Davious White, Jamal Adams, Patrick Peterson, maybe.
I'm like gonna go down the interception leaders last season. You have Xavier Howard with 10, J.C. Jackson in New England with 9, Tyrann Mathieu with 6. Then you had Harrison Smith in Minnesota, Quandre Diggs in Seattle, and Justin Simmons in Denver, all with 5.
I think that's the biggest disadvantage for any defensive backs, though, is the only way they get into this conversation is interceptions. Because they could have 2 completions a game against them for a total of 35 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to be enough because they didn't get a turnover. They could have 8 sacks. That'll get them in the conversation, but it won't be enough. Because there's going to be Chase Young or any of the other 7 guys that we named that have a double-digit sack season.
I think if it's a defensive back, it's so hard to just like pick any of these names because these guys are all so talented.
Well, keep in mind, everyone that we're naming we'll probably see at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. I think top 3, and I could see Xavier Howard doing it again, being the interception leader. Honestly, I think he's that talented. I'm gonna say that Justin Simmons from Denver has a good shot because now that they have Patrick Surtain the second, it's definitely gonna be more lockdown across the board. So the quarterback is gonna have to force things. I think that is gonna help him. And then I think like Tyrann Mathieu, I think he has a chance.
I feel like he's been in the conversation for like 6 years now.
He's
for defensive player of the year.
He is so talented. It is insane.
And he's consistently good.
Yeah. I think Kansas City getting him is just
unfair.
Why? Why do the good teams have to keep being good? Thoughts? How about we stop it?
Okay.
Thank you. I'm glad we had this conversation. So, I think it's defensive linemen, unfortunately.
I think it's 9 defensive linemen and 1 defensive back in the conversation.
I think my top 3 are Nick Bosa, Aaron Donald, TJ Watt.
Yeah, I'm going Donald, Bosa, Chase Young.
God, dude, but Chase Young's there and Montez Sweat. It's a defensive lineman. I'm not
lineman.
I'm not putting a guess on it. I'm not.
Pick
I'm
one
not
of
having
the
this
8
conversation anymore.
defensive linemen.
I'm not having this convo anymore. I'm not doing it.
All right.
I'm just not, because we're gonna sit here and say 37 defensive linemen by the end of this conversation, and
it could all be them.
And be like, you know what? It's Von Miller.
It's Von Miller.
Oh, it could be him. I'm done. I'm done. I'm just done.
Moving on.
Rookie,
the one that
offensive rookie of the year.
We got one more before we get to the rookies. Alex Smith, comeback player of the year.
Oh, well, it's not named Alex Smith yet, but it should be.
It is in my heart.
Okay, so I think there's only a few names.
There's like 3 names I can think of.
I think 2 off the top of my head that I can think of. I know there's a few that I'm forgetting, but Dak and Saquon are the top 2
Yep.
in the list.
Yep. The other one I'm thinking of is Bosa.
A defensive player won in 2015, which was Eric Berry. He came back from cancer. So I mean that I just when players do stuff like that, it doesn't make sense in my brain that they're still able to compete at this high of a level after going through what they've gone through. So like my brain just like when it was like Eric Berry took the field after having cancer, my brain's like, that's not possible.
How?
That doesn't make any sense. And then he's out there and he's like making plays, and I'm like,
he beat the Falcons on a 2-point conversion where he intercepted it and ran it all the way back, and we lost 24-23.
I think
something like that.
I hope Eric Berry makes the Hall of Fame.
Oh, he's a first ballot. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
And then Greg Ellis, a defensive end, won in 2007. A linebacker, Teddy Bruschi, in 2005. And then 2 defensive linemen in 2000 and 1999. It looks like it's mostly funny. Offensive players.
Well, yeah. The list that I'm looking at, I'm just going to read off some of the names on here. It's Dak Prescott, Jameis Winston, Joe Burrow, who also is not a bad shout. Joe Burrow. Christian McCaffrey. Again, I don't think he's got the team around him to do it. Saquon, Nick Bosa, OBJ, Sam Darnold.
I wouldn't.
Derwin. I don't think they've got the team to do it.
For me, like comeback player of the year is like someone who was injured and came back.
Not on the bench and came back.
Yeah, it is
because Tyrod Taylor and Garoppolo are also on this list, which fall in that same exact category of not injured, just not playing.
I'm biased, and I'm not even gonna discuss it because I'm biased. I think Dak wins it.
I'd be very surprised if it wasn't Dak, assuming he does have a Dak-esque season.
Honestly, if he throws for like 4,500 yards, I think he wins it. Like
I'm not expecting an amazing season out of him to win this award.
Oh,
to win the award.
Okay, I'm with you.
like bare minimum to win this award. If he hit average 250 yards and 2 touchdowns a game, I think he's got it locked up.
Yeah. I think Dak wins it. If it's not Dak, I think it's Saquon. If Saquon doesn't win it, I think it's Burrow. I don't think a defensive player will win it, unfortunately.
No.
Unless Bosa comes out and is insane, which could happen.
The last name on this list, I love it. The last name on this list is Tim Tebow. Which, if he would have made the team, I think that might have been enough to give it to him.
I agree. I don't know how someone can win. I don't know how someone can win comeback player of the year twice.
I don't see why not. If they had 2 traumatic things or 2 seasons where they were out for more than a season.
Chad Pennington won it twice, in 2006 and 2008. The seasons before, he played 3 games and 8 games.
Injured, out for the season, came back, had a good season.
Went
Injured,
10 and
out
6.
For the season, came back, had a good season.
I don't think he should have won it in 2006. I don't know what else happened, but in 2006, he went 3,352 yards, 17 touchdowns, 16 interceptions.
This was 2006?
Yeah, he went 17-16 TD interception ratio.
That was about, okay, that's even lower than that to even back up what I'm about to say. That's about the time that the league started transitioning into more of a passing league. Because that's right around when Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees came in the league. Aaron Rodgers was like 2004. Like, the league was just starting to ramp up into a passing league at that point. Speaking of Peyton Manning, the jersey I'm wearing.
My brain just does not understand.
Yeah, but 16, you said 16 and 7?
17-16.
17-16.
Yes, that's why.
Oh, I didn't hear the teen at the end of that.
That's why I'm shocked. Because it doesn't make sense. Was
he the only player injured in 2005?
I have no idea. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay.
I think it's Dak.
I think it's Dak.
I don't see Dak not winning it.
Dak had a gruesome injury. He's back in full health. If not Dak, Burrow.
Now this is the fun part. This is my favorite. These are my favorite awards to look at. We're gonna start with Offensive Rookie of the Year.
The new nobodies. So I will say this: I don't agree. Best odds right now for Offensive Rookie of the Year,
Okay.
Mac Jones. Do not agree with that at all.
If Justin Fields was starting week 1, I would say he'd have higher odds.
Yeah, he is tied for list.
Tied for what?
Tied for 4th, Justin Fields. I'll just read the top couple. Mac Jones alone at 1. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson tied for 2. Trey Lance, Justin Fields tied for 4. Najee Harris, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Javonte Williams, Devonta Smith.
I think it's a quarterback.
I think it's a quarterback. I'm still pulling for Justin Fields on that. It's just like we said 100 times. Depends on when he plays.
Who wins Offensive Rookie of the Year?
You don't think he gets?
No. I think who wins it is. Let me just double check. Yeah, so Justin Herbert won it last season, and they went 7-9. So the team doesn't have to do great for the player to win. So I'm gonna go on a limb, and I'm gonna say Offensive Rookie of the Year is Zach Wilson.
I was thinking Trey Lance, kind of in the same vein. Gonna have an okay season, and the only thing that really hurts Trey Lance is if they do go with a 2-quarterback system. Because they could end up going 17-0, but if they have a 2-quarterback system and he only has 2,200 yards on the season, it's not going to work out. So,
just glance at something real quick. Not confirmed by Kyle Shanahan, but Garoppolo sort of confirmed it. Okay. That Garoppolo is starting Sunday against the Lions.
Then that hurts Trey Lance's chances even more. Yeah. So then, I'm more in favor of Zach Wilson then. Fingers crossed it's Kyle Pitts. Please put up 40 touchdowns this year.
I'm trying to imagine a tight end catching 40 touchdowns.
I can't imagine a tight end having 20 touchdowns other than Travis Kelce.
That's so many touchdowns.
That's a lot for any receiver.
Yeah, I don't know where that number came from. That's so many.
I'm hopeful, okay?
I just think this draft...
12 touchdowns. How about that?
I think this draft was just so QB heavy.
Yeah. Everyone's looking at QBs.
It's hard to put another guy. You definitely have wide receiver options in Chase, Waddle, and Smith.
Elijah Moore.
I don't know.
Running backs, Trey Sermon, with Najee Harris.
Javonte Williams in Denver. Like, you have a couple names. You have Kyle Pitts. He's the only tight end option, I would say.
Yeah.
So like, there's other guys that are definitely gonna make an impact as rookies on the offensive side of the ball. But I think it's the unfortunate part of voting for any award in the NFL that the play starts with a quarterback. That is what everyone sees. So if there's an award that a quarterback can win, the chances of them winning it is much higher.
My hope for one that can't happen would be Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, man, I feel so bad for him.
He was gonna tear up some this year.
Yeah. So but I think it's Zach Wilson. I still believe. I actually won't say what I was gonna say because that's another question we're gonna talk about. But defensive side, this is the one. I just like choosing defensive players because it's all over the place. It can be anywhere.
It's so much more, especially whenever we're talking about Rookie of the Year. There's a lot more non-defensive linemen in the conversation. Most notably, J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, Sante Samuel.
I already have my pick.
Okay.
But I want you to talk through your thought process of who you think wins this.
So going off of the way that they're going to do Defensive Player of the Year, it leans in favor of defensive lines.
Okay. If you're going to go defensive ends, I see only, in my opinion, one choice.
I only see one choice in JOK.
JOK is considered a linebacker.
Is he considered? Oh, you're right. He is considered a linebacker. Then I don't really see a lineman.
My only defensive end that I see winning it would be Kwity Paye.
If they
Because
use him how he
he's on a
used,
solid Colts defense. That's why.
yeah. If they use him the way he needs to be used,
Mhm.
I'm more partial to Micah Parsons though.
That's exactly where I'm going with it. Because in preseason, dude, I'm biased. I'm a Cowboys fan, but
I don't care. Biased or not,
unbiased apart, like you just look at the way he plays, his speed, his intelligence. There's
that's
something about
what's
this kid,
scary.
man.
He could be 3 foot and 120 pounds soaking wet. As fast as he is, and as smart as he is to pick up on all those little things, he is going to be vital to that defense this year.
I wouldn't be shocked if he has at least 20 tackles for loss this season.
No, I would. I won a game minimum. I would not doubt that. He's going to be all over backfields.
I think he wins Defensive Player of the Year. I think he gets 5 picks and a few forced fumble recoveries. I don't want to like try and be like, oh, he's gonna force 3 and recover. Like I'm not gonna do that. I think he gets like 5 interceptions and 5 total forced fumble recoveries.
I was gonna say if he gets 15 tackle for loss and 5 turnovers, I think he's got a dang good chance to win it.
Yeah, I just there are definitely the way I see this one going is I think it's Micah Parsons, and then I think it's a group of cornerbacks: J.C. Horn, Patrick O'Tain II, Asante Samuel Jr., Greg Newsome II. I think it's those guys. Then I think it's Kwity Paye and JOK. Like I think that's how the list goes
I think
for
there's
me.
very few rookies that actually have on the defensive side. I think there's very few rookies that actually have a chance.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like any
long shots.
Yeah, I'm like scrolling through the draft.
Christian Barmore.
Just not really seeing anyone, man.
Morig could do something. Trevon Morig.
I'm still shocked he fell to 43.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying he could do it. He's actually kind of low on the list. But I don't see why he couldn't be up there with J.C. Horn, Surtain, and Asante Samuel.
Caleb Farley, I didn't even say his name. He's playing in Tennessee. Yeah. Like I don't know. There's definite talent on defense that got drafted this draft. But
it was quarterbacks, a bunch of defense, and then kind of everybody else.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm excited for the rookies this year.
They don't win awards, but definitely very solid offensive linemen in this draft.
Yeah, very much so. And again, people always brush over linemen. Linemen are the unsung heroes. I think we've said that before. Both sides of the ball.
Chase Young won Defensive Rookie of the Year last year, and then it was Nick Bosa, then Darius Leonard. So,
yeah,
it's all over the place. Looking at this, it's got linebackers.
We need an award for offensive linemen.
I agree. Can we get that?
We need an award for offensive linemen. Offensive lineman of the year. 18 pancake blocks. I don't know other stats for linemen, I guess.
It's not a sack that they don't really talk about it, but it would be like sack percentage. Like how many times do you make contact with someone, but they get by you and get a sack?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like what Madden stats are for blocking, and only I can think of is pancakes.
Yeah, it's pretty much all it does on Madden. So, but I'm just going to go.
Talk about Coach of the Year?
Not really, because
I don't know enough, really. Ron Rivera, about the only one that comes to mind.
I never know how they do Coach of the Year. If it's like, oh, he came back from like a crazy season, or it's like he just coached his team to win a lot of games. Because if that's the case, it's going to be like Andy Reid or Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have 3 questions, and that will wrap up the first. It's going to sound weird because we've been talking a while, but the first half of this episode.
An hour, 15 minutes.
But
so what you got?
We have 5 rookie quarterbacks. This one should be pretty easy because we did talk about it. We have Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. Who do you think has the best season, and who do you think has the worst season?
Trevor Lawrence, worst season. Justin Fields, best season.
I'm going to say yes. I think Lawrence has the worst season. I think Zach Wilson has the best season. Again, it's just because Justin Fields will not see the field
until it's too late.
Yeah, I've said this probably 7,000 times now, but it's
the reality of it. And I hope we're wrong. I hope he gets the ball going into the second half on Sunday. But the reality of it is they're going to give Andy Dalton his fair shot.
Yeah. No. And I don't know, man. I just Lawrence I think he's overrated, which sounds really weird because he's a rookie, but it's just
I don't know. I don't know. It's not a great situation for him being a rookie, being on one of the worst teams
for Urban Meyer either.
That plays into it being not a great situation
then
for
losing
Trevor Lawrence.
His rookie running back that he played in college with, losing him.
Yeah,
and then he has two wide receivers who are questionable for week 1, and he doesn't have a real tight end, and I don't know. The Jags are in shambles, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Second-year quarterbacks, we'll jump to that one. We have Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Tua, and Jalen Hurts. Who has the best season, and who has the worst season?
Best season is Herbert with the Chargers. Love watching him play, and he's amazing.
Yep,
to say the least. Worst, I think it's a split between Tua and Hurts. And it's a lot of the same reason. It's a lot of the same reason that I've said in the past. Same reason why I feel like Mac Jones is going to have a great season. Alabama quarterbacks aren't great. And I know Hurts came from Oklahoma technically, but Alabama quarterbacks just for whatever reason don't make it in the NFL.
I think Tua has the best season.
Really?
Yeah. I am high on Tua.
You're high on the Dolphins as well.
Yes.
In general, just overall.
That team is trending. Like, I feel bad for teams like the Dolphins who are like, yes, we're starting to get pieces together. And in our conference, we have the Bills, the Chiefs, the Browns, and the Titans.
Yeah. As good, their like ceiling this year is like 5th best.
I would say their ceiling is, in my opinion, I think they could win that division. That's their ceiling.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not saying they will hit their ceiling.
No.
But I think they have a chance.
It is a possibility, though.
That they could win that division. But I think Tua has the best season, and I think I'm just not high on Hurts at all. Like I think the Eagles are going to be in shambles, like all the way around the board. Yeah, true.
I don't know.
We have friends. For anyone listening, we have friends who cheer on like 7 or 8 different teams. So it's
wonderful.
It's funny when we bring up teams, like we have a friend named Ken who's an Eagles fan. So when I'm like, the Eagles will be in shambles, it's like, well, hopefully he's not listening.
Yeah, Hurts or Tua, I think, are going to have a worse season. But I think the Dolphins are going to have a good season regardless. And that could be 10-7 with Tua having a worse season than the other 3 quarterbacks that you mentioned. Because the other 3 just did that good.
Yeah.
I like all 4 of these quarterbacks. I just don't like the Alabama part of 2 of them.
It sounds really weird because you're like, I hate where you went to college.
I feel like I'm contradicting myself a lot.
But when you like look at the like list of Alabama quarterbacks, you kind of have a reason to not trust them.
AJ McCarron had the best stretch, and it's because he didn't lose a lot of games because he was a backup.
True.
For like the last 3 seasons. Yeah. He started for a little bit in Cincinnati, I want to say, before Joe Burrow got there.
Mm-hmm.
But Alabama quarterbacks, for whatever reason, just do not make it.
But speaking of some Alabama players, because I know they're on this list, this is the last question for this section of the episode. Second-year wide receiver who have the best season. I went through this draft. In 2020, there were like 9 or 10 really solid wide receivers drafted. So I narrowed it down to 5 for us, so it was easier to discuss.
Thank you.
Henry Ruggs III, Jared Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, or Brandon Ayuk.
Are we doing the same thing, best and worst?
Yeah. I'm not going to do worst, actually, because there's
I don't think either of these guys have a bad season.
There's a lot of them below them too that I didn't list, and it would be unfair to say that these guys will have the worst when there's other people.
I think all.
5.
You know what? This will be my first bold prediction. I think all 5 of these guys have 1,000 yards this year.
Okay.
I think all 5.
So, which one has the most yards then?
Which one has the most yards? I'm tempted to say Jefferson, but I don't think he will. CeeDee Lamb. I'm going CeeDee Lamb.
I'm biased, but I also agree. CeeDee Lamb is insane.
Of these 5, I feel like he'll have the most targets this year, which usually translates into more yards, which usually translates into more production in general. So, yeah, yeah. Henry Ruggs is Vegas. Judy is Broncos. Lamb
Dallas,
is Cowboys
Minnesota,
and 49ers.
Yep.
Okay, so just making sure I'm thinking of the right guys. Yeah. Derek Carr, Bridgewater. Okay, so maybe Jerry Judy does. No, I'm sticking to it. All 5 hit 1,000.
I don't think all 5 hit 1,000. I actually think 2 of them do not.
I was gonna say at least for sure 3, but it wouldn't surprise me 5.
I don't think Ruggs or Ayuk hit 1,000.
Who else is? Oh, never mind. Okay, I'm sticking to it. That's gonna be one of my bold predictions.
Yeah, I think Lamb does it. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Lamb hits like 1,300 this season with like
I was gonna
10
say
to
1,500 much.
I want to bank on 1,500. He's a Cowboys player. I want to bank on it, but that's so many yards.
Is Amari Cooper gonna let that happen? And Zeke and Gallup?
No.
Y'all got a lot of weapons.
We have a lot of weapons, but I think Lamb's our number 1 wide receiver.
I agree.
In terms of production, I think Amari Cooper is our number 1 guy. Obviously on the depth chart he is, but I think with everything Amari Cooper has done, I think he is our number 1 guy. I think Gallup fits the number 2 perfectly, and then putting Lamb in the slot is just unfair.
Yeah, I mean he could do what Michael Thomas did for Drew Brees forever, and just be the slant guy that consistently gets between 7 and 15 yards. And that would be great. That would work out wonderfully. Because he also has the potential to be the guy that streaks down the field.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Cowboys team is stacked. I'm happy. On offense. On defense,
I'm happy for you.
On defense, I will see you guys next year. I don't want to talk about our defense.
Yeah.
So that will wrap it up for our predictions. So I'm gonna call it because we talked about a lot. We're an hour in, about 20 minutes
almost hour and a half. Yeah.
So, but we will pick back up with our week 1 preview. Preview. I don't know. Preview. That was an interesting word I just tried to make there.
Buffalo.
But that is Buffalo. Yeah. But that is this is gonna be our second half of this really long episode, and we should just start with Thursday night.
It's the first game of the year.
Dallas going into Tampa.
It's going to be a great game.
I want to cry.
It's going to be a great game to watch if you don't have anybody or any stock, I guess, in the game. First game of the year. There's no implications really on this game other than setting the tone for Dallas' season and the Bucs season.
Yeah. I mean, it's
for the other 30 teams, it's great.
It's Dak's first game back. It's the Super Bowl winning Buccaneers. Can this Cowboys defense be anything but a piece of paper?
Can they allow not 40 points?
Yeah. So
basically, it's the way I look at that.
I just want to. I think the biggest thing with this game is not can the Cowboys score on the Bucs defense, because I think they will.
Yes.
I think this is a matter of, can Tom Brady be stopped?
Can the Cowboys defense stop the bleeding?
Yeah,
as
pretty
soon
much.
as possible because they're gonna score.
Mhm.
I feel like this is gonna be like not really a high scoring game, but like middle high, medium high.
I see this game to me is going to end up in two ways. Usually when people say that, they say, "Oh, it's going to be 56-54 or 10-7." No, no, no.
Mhm.
This game I think is going to end up like 31-24 or it's going to end up 59-54. It's either
You
a
think it's gonna
mid-scoring
stay?
game or it's just no defense exists.
So you think it's gonna be close? You think it's gonna be possession?
I would say yes, because how I see it happening is my pick is the Bucks win. I'm a Cowboys
Yes.
fan. I want to believe, but we talked about it earlier in this episode. The Bucks are it's the same team that won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
Uh,
what happens is the Bucks will be up by 2 points or two possessions. Dallas will score a touchdown. Then they will either do an onside or do a kickoff, and obviously not get the ball. And Tampa Bay will just run the clock out, and they'll win by
right
one
out the
possession.
last 4 or 5 minutes.
That's how I see it happening.
Um, I see it happening kind of similar, but I think it's going to be not a blowout, but more on the side of a blowout than a one possession game. I'm seeing like 10 to 14 points, two possessions
Mm,
at least.
okay. So like a
Like I'm
31-21 or a
yeah, yeah,
35-21 type of thing.
I'll
Okay.
say like 40-28, something like that.
That's a lot of points too.
I think Tom Brady and Bucks are going to run through the Cowboys defense, and it's not going to be pretty. I feel like they're going to have a really active second half. I feel like this whole game, both sides of the ball, is going to be a really active second half.
I would
Halftime might be like a field goal to a touchdown difference, and then the second half, the Bucks just kind of run away with it.
I want to disagree. I do, but it's so hard to bet against Tom Brady.
It's
What do you let I'll ask you this question and we'll wrap up with this game. What do you think are the chances, right? Like so if Dallas had no chance, right? You would say it's 100 Tampa Bay, 0 Dallas.
mhm.
What are the odds? What would you give Dallas?
I give Dallas a solid 30% chance, 30
So
70.
so
I'll say
30 out of every 100 attempts, Dallas would be winning 30 of those games. And Tampa Bay would
generous
win
30,
70.
generous 30. Yeah, between 20 and 30. Yeah, I'll say that.
Okay, I'm
I,
biased and I'm going to say Dallas has 35.
but yeah, I Dallas can win this game. I'm not going to say that they can't win this game because it's very possible that they do.
If Dallas
I just think it's more possible the Bucks do.
if Dallas were to let's say scenario, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen. But let's say Dallas wins by 2 to 3 possessions, right?
Mhm.
Cuz if Tampa Bay does it, everyone's going to go, "Yep, that's how they won a Super Bowl." Like and it's
Yeah,
over, right? Like it's the conversation's done. But if Dallas does it, do you think this is something that could lead the Cowboys to a Super Bowl? I know it sounds
um,
really crazy to be like, week 1 if they beat the Bucks by 21 points, they're going to win a
well,
Super
okay,
Bowl.
y- yes and no, and I know I answered that a lot with that answer a lot,
Mhm.
but like I said, whenever we first started talking about this game is literally going to set the tone for both teams.
Mhm.
If it ends up being a 50-10 blowout for the Bucks are going to blow out everybody they play this year. If Dallas can squeak out a win, I feel like Dallas is going to be a top 2 NFC seed.
Come on, Dallas. Come on, Dallas. Come on, Dallas. Come on. Come
'Cause
on.
that is about the biggest morale boost you can get to start out a season is beat the Super Bowl champions.
I
I don't
I
see
think
it
Tampa
can
Bay
get
wins.
much better than that.
Oh,
I
I
think
don't
Tampa
even
Bay
want to
wins.
think about tomorrow. I'm so excited that football's back, but then I'm like, but I get to watch my team lose.
I would say I'm excited that the first game of the season is not like Jaguars versus Jaguars versus the Texans.
That they do play. That game exactly exists in Week 1.
I'm glad that this is the first game.
I want to touch on every game in this episode.
Just briefly,
not in depth. So Jacksonville, Houston. I just want a prediction. Who do you think wins?
Jacksonville.
That's not where I thought you were going with it.
I'm going Houston. Mainly. I say Jacksonville mainly because it's going to be I can same thing. I feel like this happens every year whenever we have a super high, just a lot of hype around somebody. In this case, Trevor Lawrence. They'll show a lot of promise, and they're gonna. I'm not saying this about to be like 40-10. Like this is going to be 24-28. They're going to win barely. ESPN, NFL Network, CBS, all of them are going to go off the rails. Is it Lamar Jackson? Is it Trevor Lawrence's season? Can Trevor Lawrence do it? Trevor Lawrence is the next Tom Brady.
I hope not. Please. I hope he goes out and throws 7 picks so I don't have to listen to Trevor Lawrence talk all day, every day.
For the next week. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the way I see this going.
But I think it goes
with Tyrod Taylor. Are you saying that because of Tyrod Taylor or because of Trevor Lawrence?
It's both. I think it's both the inexperience of Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer in the NFL, not inexperience in football. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
But in the NFL, and then the experience that while most of the Texans roster is players who have
mediocre
or past their prime, that experience will win them. That experience will unfortunately win them games just because they've done it before. Like they're going to beat teams because they just are able to make a play at certain points when they need to.
Because they understand what's going on better than
So
yes, but I think it also plays in favor for Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer. The NFL doesn't know what's about to happen with either of them.
No.
I think that's about the only thing that Jacksonville has going for him for the first half of the season. And I just don't think that'll be enough for 6 of the first half of the season games. I think they sweep it out.
This game is going to be like 6 total turnovers, and it's going to be like 17-14.
This is
and it's going to be like a last-second field goal they went off of, and everyone's going to be like, "The Texans are going to the playoffs," and it's going to be like, "No."
I can see myself watching the highlights to that game, whatever the highlights, lowlights ends up coming out of it, with the Benny Hill theme going on in the background.
Yes, I agree. But we'll switch
game
over.
I won't be watching.
100%. We'll switch over to a game though that has probably the biggest headline, I would say, going into this week. In my opinion, it's not like a crazy headline. It's just what everyone's talking about. It's Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers versus his old team in the New York Jets, who are also led by a rookie in Zach Wilson. This is just like one game that everyone is talking about just because of the Sam Darnold revenge.
Outside of Dallas, Tampa Bay, because that's the first game that's going to get most of a lot of the hype for the week.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that's probably the most hyped up game is the Jets and Panthers because it is a homecoming and a rookie.
Yep, that's
or a revenge.
That's it. It's not that these teams are great. It's just this whole people love. I mean, they love it throughout storylines, right?
Yeah, and another game I probably won't watch unless it pops up on Red Zone.
Part of me wants to watch this game.
I want to watch
just
Zach
for the Jets
Wilson a little bit.
Just for the Jets. I don't think the Panthers. Whatever, man. But I don't know.
Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, that's another friend whose team we were just bashing. Right, add it to the list.
Okay, hold on. Before we move on, does anybody's outside of you, the Cowboys, does anybody in our friend group actually have a legit chance this season?
Okay, so the Jets-Panthers game.
We're all screwed.
I think. See, the problem is I want to believe in Zach Wilson, right? Like we both said he's going to have the best rookie season out of all the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But I was high on Sam Darnold and felt like the Jets gave up on him. But I just don't think the Panthers are that good. So my brain is just conflicted with all of this information.
James Conner. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold.
Your brain today has been just like,
dude, I've been up since like 4:30.
That's fair.
Sam Darnold. I'm still high on Sam Darnold. Unfortunately, the rest of the team around Sam Darnold is about as good as the Jets were whenever he was at the Jets.
Yeah.
He really needs a number one wide receiver, and his saving grace here is gonna be Christian McCaffrey because he is a number one wide receiver, and he is a number one running back,
and he is a number one quarter. Oh, sorry, my bad.
It might as well be. So I give this game to Carolina because of Christian McCaffrey being a jack of all trades.
I give it to Zach Wilson in the Jets. I think this is also a game that ends last second field goal, one possession. It's not. Yeah. It's something. This game is definitely not going to be a blowout, and it's not going to be high scoring. This game is going to be similar to the last game. It's going to be turnover central again.
Yeah.
But I think the Jets can pull it out. Personally, I think
the Jets can pull it out. I think Christian McCaffrey is just better.
Well, I do agree that Christian McCaffrey is going to be the best player on that field. Mm-hmm. I think the downside is that the Jets' new head coach, Robert Saleh, who is a proven defensive coordinator, will know that and will understand how to stop him, and that's what's going to stop. They're going to force Sam Darnold to throw.
Yeah. Yes, which may not be a bad thing. I think for Carolina, that's a bad thing because Jamison Crowder's out. But their receivers aren't terrible.
Yeah, Carolina's in. They're in
a weird spot. They're in a weird spot, but they're not in a. There's a big upside of a weird spot.
It's weird because he's got like Robert Anderson, DJ Moore, Terrence Marshall Jr. Like they're not terrible, but they're not.
There's no great. True number one.
Yeah, like Robbie Anderson can be a number one, but he's never done it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
mean, Zach Wilson's kind of in the same position because Jamison Crowder's
out. That's why
I
said
Corey
this
Davis
game's going to be one possession.
Yeah, and it's going to be at most 21-17.
This game will be like punt, 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 field goal, punt, 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 interception, punt, fumble.
That's why I'm not very excited to watch this game because it's going to be a very outside of like I feel like this is going to be a preseason game. I feel like this is going to be a preseason game.
This game and the last game we talked about, yes.
Yeah. Zach Wilson's going to be entertaining to watch for the first quarter, and then by about the fourth or fifth punt, I'm going to be done watching the game.
Pretty much. Yeah. So you got the Panthers, I got the Jets. We will jump to definitely. So for anyone wondering, we're sticking with the noon games right now, and then we'll go to the afternoon, evening, and so on.
Yeah, just move.
A game that is going to be exciting to watch. This game that we're about to talk about is going to be exciting, and this is the LA Chargers visiting Washington.
One of the three games. Well, for the noon games, one of two games I'm really excited to be. Let's see. This one could be a 40-0 blowout either way. I don't think it will be a blowout, but I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
I give an edge to Washington.
By this much?
55-45.
Yeah. I was going to say the same for the Chargers, but and I think we actually talked about this earlier in the week, this game specifically. It's going to come down to, I say it could be a blowout either way. It won't be, but both of these teams have that much firepower to where if the other team is off of their A game, it could be very devastating. With it being week one, I don't think it'll end up being that way. I give the Chargers the edge. Same way you're doing doing Washington the edge, just that much.
Yeah. And I feel like some people may not see it that way because some people aren't high on the Chargers, but we're both.
Very high.
We're both high on the Chargers, but I'm also really high on Washington. So
you're higher on Washington than I am, but I'm never going to count out Fitzpatrick or Montez Sweat.
If Fitzmagic shows up, this game is going to get so out of hand.
Yeah.
Like, if Fitzmagic can show up, guarantee you Washington scores at least 40 points.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about Washington is their ceiling is 40 plus every week.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think
it just depends on which team shows up, which quarterback shows up.
Can be the best quarterback in the league.
If he could string together 12 good games in a season, yes, 100%.
I think Fitzpatrick has a talent to beat a Tom Brady, an Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees if he's still in the league. Like, I think Fitzpatrick can do that. Mm-hmm. He's just so inconsistent.
I was about to think back on the other teams that he's been on to say if he's ever had a defense this good, but he's been on 14 teams in the league. So
don't even try and look it up.
I mean, right now I can talk about right now. We talked about Washington's defense a little bit earlier. One of the best defenses in the league, just scary defense in the league. So if they could, even if they're held to 24 points, this defense can win that game.
I think the pressure from Young and Sweat will give the edge, which sounds sort of funny because they're edge rushers, but will give the edge in this game, and that's why I give it to Washington.
And then you look at the other side, look at their defense. You're talking about Joey Bosa at linebacker.
It's not
Linval Joseph.
It's not the fact that I think Washington has a better defensive line, but not by much. Mm-hmm. And that's not the point. It's the point that Herbert, a young guy, will be pressured and will crumble. Fitzpatrick in a game last season, literally in a game last season, looked like his head got ripped off and still threw it 60 yards and they caught it and then kicked a game-winning field goal. So, pressure is nothing to this guy.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Like I said, his head literally looked like it was getting ripped off. And he's still...
There's something about this Chargers team, though.
Like you said, I don't disagree with you.
45-55. I give the edge to the Chargers just a little bit because of Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Jared Cook. I forgot Jared Cook was their tight end, actually.
If I will say this, for anyone who is into sports betting, be careful betting on this game right here.
I wouldn't touch it. Unless you're betting the over.
I touched it because I do parlays on underdogs, and Washington is considered an underdog.
I've got them on my, whatever it's called. My spread thing. Yeah.
So I think Washington, you think Chargers, we're 4 games in, and we have three disagreements, which never happens. So
I'm enjoying this.
This is weird. I think the next 2 will probably, maybe the next 5 will probably all be in line. But we'll jump to Seattle in Indianapolis. Carson Wentz is full participant in practice today. There's no doubt in my mind that he plays week 1.
No.
Russell Wilson went through a little bit of off-season turmoil. At one point said he wanted out and then said he didn't want to leave. So I don't know.
I think that was more of, I still want to play football, and Seattle is not half bad.
I think he's out of Seattle at the end of the season. Side note. So it'll be exciting to see what happens.
Rodgers to Seattle.
I actually said before the season. Remember when we talked about the Rodgers trade? I said Wilson Rodgers trade spots. But obviously it didn't happen. They are playing in Indy. Seattle's defense has gotten a little worse.
Indy's has gotten a little better.
It's funny when you look at this. Seattle's offense is better. Indy's defense is better.
Yeah.
So this is going to be.
Can Carson Wentz perform? Basically,
I was going to say
Carson Wentz lead that offense.
The divider of this game. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. The decider. That's right. Literally, I just had to change one letter. Anyways, the decider of this game is going to be: can Carson Wentz beat Seattle's defense?
Yeah.
If Seattle's defense wins that matchup, Seattle's offense will score points.
Yes.
Russell Wilson is going to throw 2 to 3 touchdowns this game. Easy.
That's just because that's who he is. That's what he does.
So
even if he is getting pressured by Kwity Paye and DeForest Buckner the whole game. Daenerys Leonard.
He has, statistically, Russell Wilson has the best numbers on the run in the league. No one is statistically better than Russell Wilson on the run in throwing. So
he's good. He's a good quarterback.
He has the highest passer rating, the highest touchdown, highest amount of touchdowns, and the lowest interceptions, and like a minimum of a certain amount of attempts. So like,
so
Russell
it doesn't
Wilson
matter
is,
if you pressure him.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
So
you know,
he's good
sometimes
for
it
3.
actually might benefit him if you pressure him. So maybe you shouldn't blitz.
Pressure.
You should just put
Double
11 in
cover
coverage.
everyone.
Put 11 in coverage.
Then he's going to run the ball. Yeah.
We can't win.
I think Seattle wins.
Seahawks the Super Bowl.
Oh, I don't know about that one. I think Seattle wins this game.
I think Seattle wins it. I think it's like 2 possessions.
I give him 10 points.
Yeah. I would say that's fair.
Actually, what's the spread? Curiosity.
2.5
to Seattle.
2.5 Seattle?
Mm-hmm.
I understand why they're giving it 2.5. I think it's gonna sound weird, but the inexperience of Carson Wentz, even though he's been in the league with quotes for what, 4 or 5 years now?
Inexperience in this team and situation he's in now.
Yeah. So I think Carson Wentz struggles, but I don't think he looks terrible. I think he will definitely show glimpses of promise for Indy fans, but it's not going to be enough to beat Seattle.
No.
So I think Seattle.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. This is also one of the most exciting games from Sunday, which is going to be Arizona visiting Tennessee and those beautiful Titans.
This is the game that I'm most excited to see of the early slate.
This game's going to be insane because Arizona just keeps getting better, and so does Tennessee. It's so hard to think about these teams playing in week 1. Like
this is usually a game that you'd see towards the end of the season with playoff implications on the line.
This is a game you would see in, like, unfortunately, I don't know if it snows a whole lot in Tennessee and if their stadium is dome or not, but like, say Tennessee lived in, like, the team was in, like, Buffalo. This is a game you'd see, like, December, week 15. It's snowing, and it's just a brawl. But now we get to see it in week 1, and it's going to be sunny.
Well, I was about to say it is your week 15 snowing scenario. That just means they have to run the ball more.
And Tennessee wins.
And, yeah. So,
imagine, it's going to sound weird. Imagine slippery Derrick Henry when people can't get grip on the field.
You're telling me the guy who normally can't be tackled, who is now practicing stiff arming on live teammates instead of just the padding or sticks, whatever, on live people, now also can't be tackled just because of conditions.
He's running for 2,000 yards that game.
I was about to say, his man's going to break 3,000 yards because of that game.
This game, just doing a quick run through of this game, to me, is the closest 50-50 game of the weekend. Meaning, I could toss a coin to decide who wins this because I don't want to pick. I will pick for the episode, but I don't want to.
I'm picking the Titans.
I'm also picking the Titans.
I think it's a little bit more in favor of Tennessee than 50-50, maybe like 60-40. But I do agree that if they had to play 3 times this season, it's going to be 2-1 or 1-2.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Arizona. The thing with Arizona, though, is they could come out and they could just sling the ball and go crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Derrick Henry could run for 300. Both those things could happen still, technically.
That's the main reason I give the edge to Tennessee is if they can't get it done in the air, they're going to get it done on the ground for sure.
The scary thing is like we talked about this when we did our division reviews, is Tennessee and Derrick Henry, like, having that good of a running back is so invaluable because you just possess the ball for just a stupid amount of time.
Yeah, they probably average on the low end like what 6-minute drives, 7-minute drives,
I
and
wouldn't be
always
shocked if
end
it was
up
at
with a
least six
touchdown.
minutes.
Yeah, and end up with a touchdown at the end of that. They do that 3 times a game. I mean, they do that 3 times in the first half. Wouldn't
Yeah,
surprise me.
I mean that's just unreal. I think Tennessee wins.
I think Tennessee wins, but I still want to highlight the Cardinals. They're big. That Kyler Murray, Chase Edmonds, James Conner combined will run for 3,000 yards this season. Another bold prediction. The three of them.
That's a lot of yards.
It's a lot of yards. Kyler Murray's good for about what we were looking at the other day, between 600 and 800.
Now you're banking on both those running backs running for 1,100 each.
I understand that. I do. But I think for them to find success, as much success as I think they will find this year, they're going to have to air it out to AJ Green and Christian Kirk and Hopkins as much as they can put it on the ground.
I agree. This team does have Arizona's fortunate. They have one of the best trios in the league.
Yes.
So,
and
then one of the best young quarterbacks.
And you look at their defense. Their defense is not the best in the league, but it's dang close. J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones.
This is the game I want to watch.
Simmons,
I want to watch this game.
This is my taking the Falcons out of this. This is the game I'm watching.
I'm really mad that Arizona, Tennessee, and LA, Washington are both CBS games.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was hoping that one was CBS and one was Fox, so I could put them on 2 different screens and I could watch both of them.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're both on the same channel,
of course not.
I can't watch both of them at the same time unless I figure out something.
Mm-hmm. Red Zone.
But we move to. I really don't feel like talking about this game much. San Francisco going into Detroit.
San Francisco wins 100-0 next.
I was gonna say like 98-0, so we were close. No, I think
I'm higher. I'm high on the 49ers. I'm very low on.
I don't believe in Garoppolo personally, but I don't believe in Detroit at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's going to be like 31-10.
Yeah,
with Goff throwing like 2 picks, including one of them being a pick 6.
Garoppolo?
Goff. Obviously, Garoppolo could do it too.
Yeah.
Honestly, both quarterbacks throw 2 picks, one with a pick 6. That's the only points that Detroit scores is a defensive touchdown.
Oh no!
And it's because they got fortunate that they punted and they pinned him at the 1, so their interception was 6 yards.
So you're saying it's going to end up like Georgia Clemson was this past weekend?
Yeah, pretty much. Except one,
but more points.
One team scores more. Yeah.
But that was the only touchdown was the pick 6.
Yeah, I think San Francisco wins. I don't think there's any to it.
I feel like we're going to be saying that a lot this season for the Lions, unless maybe Goff was the missing link.
Maybe
I will eat my words happily.
Goff in Detroit is, paradise for both of them. Who knows?
But I will eat my words, but I don't think so.
I don't feel like
2-15 at best.
I would say 3-14 at best. I'm gonna give them a little bit of credit. But we move to Minnesota going into Cincinnati and the Bengals.
Oh,
Joe Burrow's back.
I don't want to say it. This is another game that I am excited to see, just because I want to see Joe Burrow back, and I want to see Justin Jefferson play because he is so much fun to watch.
I don't want to say it,
but
I'm gonna say it.
Mm-hmm.
This really hurts.
So we agree on this game, is what you're saying.
Kirk Cousins outplays Joe Burrow.
Yes.
I will
not by much.
I will exit the episode now. I will
not by much. This is going to be another like 31-24, 20-28 game. I don't see it being.
I don't think it's close.
You don't think it's close at all?
I think Cincinnati's defense is terrible. And I think Minnesota's defense is average at worst. That's one of their saving graces. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins, but Minnesota's defense is just like that good to me. that's why they end up winning games, because Kirk Cousins can look terrible. Dalvin Cook will run for 500, and their defense will force 3 turnovers.
I mean, okay, yeah.
So
it's hard to argue with.
I think Minnesota wins by, I'm saying at least 10. And I would not be shocked if it's 14 plus.
Is Jamar Chase healthy? Yes, he is.
He is healthy, but he looked terrible.
Not great. He dropped like
in
4
preseason.
passes in that one game.
Yeah. And Joe Burrow's coming back from injury.
Main reason why I think it's going to be closer than what you're saying, Minnesota is riddled with injuries already. Going into week 1, like half of their offense is questionable going in. So even if they are playing, they're not going to be 100%.
Yeah. I don't know. I see Minnesota winning it.
I see Minnesota winning it. It'll be not a convincing win, but I see Minnesota winning.
I don't think anything comes from this game, personally, where you're like, you know what?
Oh, wow.
I believe in that team.
No, I don't.
Maybe, in, I would say 10% of games, Joe Burrow comes out here and throws 4 touchdowns, and I go, Joe Burrow might be back, but 90% of the time,
he goes, yeah.
Just don't see it.
Yeah. I hope Joe Burrow finds success. He is going to be Cincinnati for the next foreseeable future.
As long as he gets better. If he doesn't get better, they will say see ya very quickly.
Yes. And we saw that. Well, yeah. I hope he can be what Andy Dalton was, but better.
I'm glad you said but better, because you said Andy Dalton had said so he's going to get to the wild card and lose every time.
But better. I think he can be better than what Andy Dalton was.
I want to see people find success, but
yes,
I will wait until he starts.
Wait until we see it.
Yeah. But we both pick Minnesota, and we move to Pittsburgh going into Buffalo. Buffalo.
I think you said it right.
The Bills Mafia, man. They are gonna...
Bills Mafia. Probably 2 of the most erratic fan bases.
Yes. Good word choice. I agree.
Yeah. I love this Bills team. And I love the Bills Mafia. They are one of my highlights on Sundays, looking at Twitter.
I'll say it now. If the Bills win the Super Bowl, I'll jump on a table. I'll do it. I'll put it on record. If the Bills win the Super Bowl, I'll dive onto a table.
Let's do it.
I may hurt myself because that's how brittle I am.
Anyway, that's why you're not in the NFL. All right.
Correct, because I would die. It'd be like, you broke both your legs, both your arms, and your neck. We're going to ask that you not play football ever again. I go, good choice.
Understood.
Do you think Pittsburgh has a chance?
I think Pittsburgh has a chance.
I don't think it comes from the offensive side, though.
No, not at all.
Their defense has to make
Josh
Allen not look like an MVP.
Yes. Whatever happened last year with them, they won their first 12 games. Enormous fluke. Still don't know how that happened.
What are the chances they go 12-0 again?
I put 100 on the no.
I'd put all my money on the no.
Yeah.
There's no way they win their first 12 games.
No, I don't remember their schedule right off, but I'm gonna.
They play the Bills week 1.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to say anything else.
No, but go ahead and go to their bye week. They got Vegas, 50-50, Cincinnati, divisional game. See how Burrow's doing. Packers, hard no. Denver, 50-50. Seattle, 75%, 75-25 in favor of Seattle.
Browns, I think it's like also 75, maybe 80% in favor of the Browns. Yeah, there's no way they go. Yeah.
No. If they can make it to their bye week at 3-3, then they're off to a good start.
Do you think this becomes a blowout? Do you think Buffalo shows up week 1 and Josh Allen throws for 303 touchdowns?
Yeah.
How bad of a blowout? Because I also think this game's going to be a blowout, but I'm curious. I'm going to say blowout means minimum 14 points.
Yes.
Do you think
Uh,
it turns into a 3-possession win?
the score I have in my mind is 31-10,
So right at 21 points.
right at 3. Yeah.
Um, I see this being 35-14.
Okay. So 21 as well.
Yeah, I don't. Buffalo's just too good, man. And I think
Buffalo's
Pittsburgh
too
is.
good.
I think if anyone has Pittsburgh rated high, I'm sorry, but if you're basing off last season, you might as well just leave.
Yeah. And I hate to say that. If you took this defense and put it on another team, they have one of the better defenses in the league.
Mm.
It's just unfortunate that they were injuries always seem to affect them, and their offense, for whatever reason, Big Ben, just seems to crumble.
So does his body.
Uh, Fred Flintstone ain't doing so hot these days.
Man, this. I don't know, man.
I'm
They need a new quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm surprised they have kept. I feel like the only reason why they're keeping Big Ben is because they have the mentality of you've done so much for our organization over the years, you'll leave when you're ready, and not we need somebody else. Please get out.
Yeah,
like most other teams do.
Yeah.
Their saving grace this year, though, I'm very high on Najee Harris. I was high on Benny Snell whenever they drafted him last year or the year before.
I don't know. For me, I'm waiting on Najee Harris. I'm just nervous that Pittsburgh will do the same thing that they've been doing since it sounds like it's just recent, but like when Bell left and they were like, James Conner's our guy, and then they're like, well,
Yeah.
and they got rid of him. Like, I'm nervous that Najee Harris will have a good season, then play like okay next season. They'll be like,
Yeah.
and then they'll send him
On
like,
to the next.
yeah. So
If that happens, please Falcons take him off the waivers. If you remember, I wanted Najee Harris for the Falcons. And then we got Kyle Pitts. I'm like, all right, well, that works too.
But speaking of your Falcons, this will wrap up the noon games. I almost said noon o'clock, which I do sometimes. Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts, they will enter Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta.
Yes. Megatron's butthole. Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I
I'll just go ahead and preface everything everything I'm about to say, as unbiased as I can.
Yeah. I did a good job with mine because we played the Bucks.
Well,
ours is easy.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a little bit, or this game Falcons and Eagles is a little bit closer, and I do think this game will be close. How close? I'm not sure.
I'm giving you guys the edge.
I'm glad you said that because I am too. Now it makes me sound less biased.
I'm gonna tell you,
I
think this game ends. Let me think of a score.
I've got my score in mind.
I think Atlanta wins 17-16.
Okay, that's funny. I was going to say 20-21.
I wanted to go that far, but I feel like you guys, no one will score that many points.
Well, I feel like we will because the Falcons' defense is not great at all. So I feel like Jalen Hurts will find some success to boost his confidence and ego between Devontae Smith and Miles Sanders. I feel like they'll figure something out. And then same thing with the Falcons. I think the Falcons are more skilled on offense.
100%. And Philly's definitely more skilled on defense. I think Matt Ryan will get sacked 3 times this game.
Minimum. Yeah.
And I think that's why there's not going to be as many points. I think your team definitely has Atlanta has the capability to score 30 plus points a game, but I think I'm seeing it as the sacks that Matt Ryan's going to take are going to push them out of field goal range, put them into long third downs, like something that
I feel like there's going to be a lot of punts this game.
I agree
as well.
I agree. This game I don't think it's going to be a bad game to watch. There are definitely better games to watch, and there are definitely worse games to watch.
Yes.
I think this is like a middle of the pack noon game.
I will say, if I wasn't a Falcons fan, I'm not sure I would have this one on. because I'm definitely going to be watching for the 12 o'clock games, the noon games. Arizona, Tennessee.
Yep.
Cleve,
LA, Washington.
LA, Washington.
Seattle,
Those are
Indy.
probably the two I'll flip between. Those will probably be the only two I would care to flip between.
Yeah.
I'll red zone the rest of them.
Yep. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, that wraps it up for noon. I mean, the
Falcons by 1.
The games on CBS, for anyone curious, are Houston, Jacksonville, Jets, Carolina, Washington, LA, Tennessee, Arizona, then Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and then you have the 4 Fox games of Seattle, Indy, San Francisco, Detroit, Minnesota, Cincy, and Philadelphia, Atlanta. So the best Fox game is Seattle, Indy.
Yes.
So I hope I get to watch that game.
If
it's not them, I hope I get to watch Minnesota, Cincy. I could check. I just
we'll check after this. I'm not worried about it.
But we'll shift to 3:25 Central at least.
4 games.
We got 4 games. We'll do the first 2 on CBS, which will include, in my opinion,
best game of the week.
The best game of the week.
The rematch.
Cleveland
Browns. Yep,
goes into Kansas City, where their season ended last year.
Unfortunately for Cleveland, I don't think this is the revenge that they hope to get. I don't think they get it.
I think Cleveland can. I think Cleveland has a good chance of beating Kansas City now.
Give me the numbers.
Hold on. But because it's week 1 and they can get away with doing something that hasn't been seen this season. That's the only catch. I think this is going to be shocking, but I think it's 60% Kansas City. I think it's 80%?
No, sorry, 35.
Oh.
I was going to say 35-65 for the Browns.
I think it's 60 Kansas City, 40 Cleveland.
Yeah. With this being like first game advantage, if you want to call it that, I would not be surprised if Cleveland did weasel this one away, and that is exactly what they would do, is weasel it away.
It's the same thing that like Kansas City could do the same thing, right? Because it goes both ways.
If I'm Kansas City, I'm changing little to nothing from the previous season.
What I'm changing from the previous season is making sure Mahomes doesn't get hit 7,000 times.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Thoughts? I think it's a good call.
I think that's a good strategy overall.
So,
but with that being said, do you think Cleveland does come away with it?
I want to believe, man.
If I had a pick with my heart game outside of the Falcons, this would be it for the Browns.
I agree.
But
I'm taking Kansas City. Yeah, I think this game though is like 10. I was going to say I think this game's like 35-31. Like I think this is a brawl.
I say it every time these two play. I'm waiting for that Texas Tech Oklahoma game.
I mean,
when it was like 65 to 58 or something. I don't remember the exact score. They had 12 or 14 combined. They had like 14 combined touchdowns, 1,200 combined yards. That's the game I'm waiting on. I don't think we'll ever see that in the NFL, but if it's going to happen, it better be these two.
Last season, their game ended 22-17.
Yeah.
So I think there would definitely be more points scored because it is a non-playoff game.
Mm-hmm. They're going to be a little more risky.
Exactly.
They're not going to worry about controlling the ball for as much as they can.
So I think 35-31 is how I see this game ending. I think a 4 to 7 point win for Kansas City is my range for this game.
I'm going 7-10. I was thinking like 31 for Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean it sucks not to talk about it much, but it's the rematch. There's so much talk about this game that we could honestly spend like 30 minutes talking about it. Yeah. But at the same time,
we're going to spare you.
I want you guys to just watch it. If you're going to watch an afternoon game, I want you to watch this game. I don't care what team you support. I don't care if you hate either of these teams. I want you to watch this game.
This is easily game of the week.
No. But we'll move to the other CBS afternoon game, which is Miami going into New England.
There's not Mac Jones is about the only thing I'm excited to see in this game. I guess Tua too. And
I
I
mean,
hate
I'm
to
high
harp
on
on the
Tua,
quarterbacks all
so
the time, but I think Mac Jones is being way overhyped.
yep, I
Just
agree.
in general. I think Miami wins this one. I'll say that. Um, not by much. Mm, like 24-27, 24-21.
I
But
think
it's
this.
not going to be like a close 24-21.
I think this game ends Miami like 28, New England 10. Like I see Tua coming out and balling out, and Mac Jones looking like a rookie.
Yeah, I could see that too. I'm gonna play into the hype a little bit and say it's gonna be a one possession game.
Again, we've said it before. If we say something and we're wrong, we'll own up to it. But
I'm
Mac
totally
Jones has a lot to prove for us. A lot to prove.
and I'm already salty about Tua and Mac Jones and Jalen Hurts just because for whatever reason Alabama quarterbacks don't seem to make it in the NFL very long.
Yeah.
I hope this is the generation, I guess.
Yeah.
The the trio, however you want to say it, that
That,
changes that.
that locker room picture of Hurts,
Exactly.
Jones, Tua.
Exactly.
We'll see.
You're gonna tell me they've got like 4 or 5 NCAA championships combined, and none of them can make it in the NFL? No. Please change it.
It's going to be Tua. I think Tua sticks around for a while. As a
I
starter.
could of the 3, I see it to being 2, unless we're totally missing something on Mac Jones.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. But I think Miami wins it. We both
I
do.
think Miami wins.
I feel bad for New England fans because, just kidding, I don't.
You've had it too good for too long.
I
You can
just
suck it
don't.
up like
I
the rest
don't.
of us.
I'm sorry, but I'm not. You guys have won too many Super Bowls. Enjoy not
Mm.
being good for a little bit. Okay, just take a breather.
Feel normal. Just feel normal.
Go outside. Go to dinner with your family on Sunday. Like, just you don't have to watch your team every week. It's fine. Okay.
I'm not going to say that. We watch our team every week. We just yell at the TV the whole time.
I'll be honest. I didn't watch all the Cowboys games last season.
I didn't watch. I didn't watch a lot of the Falcons.
I was
last
very
year because
heartbroken
COVID.
when Dak got ankle broken.
I why'd you say it like that?
Because it went with me saying I was heartbroken.
Fair enough. Fair enough, Billy Ray.
But
Packers and Saints. First time in a decade. I'm not excited to watch this game.
they were playing in Jacksonville. Keep that in mind.
Doesn't change my opinion.
Just letting you know, they're playing in Jacksonville. They're
Yeah.
not playing in.
Yeah.
They're not playing in New Orleans. Again, we said this last episode. We hope everyone that's being affected by Hurricane Ida is safe and healthy and getting things back in order.
Yeah.
But New Orleans will be playing for some time. I don't know how long outside of New Orleans.
But for the first time in a long time, I am not excited to watch this game.
I think Green Bay wins, and I think it's like 70-30.
Is that the score? Because I could see that too.
Yes. No, but I think the 30% is just because Jameis Winston is very similar to Fitzpatrick to me. And I almost said Fitzmagic as his actual name. Because Jameis can go out and throw 600 yards and 7 touchdowns. Or he can go out and throw 100 yards and 5 picks.
He's inconsistently good.
So Jameis can come in here and make the Packers look horrible because their defense is not great. Or the Packers defense could make themselves look amazing because they just catch balls thrown to them.
That are legitimately thrown to them like
Yes.
they were the intended target.
So it's hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers. He plays too well no matter who's on his team.
I feel like I don't care who the quarterback is at the Saints. If it's not Drew Brees, this is going to be the aftershock year for the Saints.
It's going to feel weird, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to feel weird next year when Green Bay doesn't have Rodgers. It felt weird when New England didn't have Tom Brady.
Broncos didn't have Manning.
The Colts didn't have Manning. I mean, they had Luck, but then after Luck, now it's
Yeah,
it's weird. But
it happens. It's how it works.
do you agree in Green Bay? I mean, I don't.
Yes.
I don't see anything else. Like I don't know. You know what I mean?
And like you said, unless Jameis Winston can throw for 600 yards and 7 touchdowns, I don't see them winning this game.
Yeah.
Or Alvin Kamara runs for 250 and 4. I don't see them winning this game.
We'll see, right?
It might take both of those.
Probably. And we'll move to the last afternoon game, which Denver going to the Giants.
Giants by like 3.
Yeah, the Giants by 3, but also I could say Denver by 3. I don't know, man. This game is so close, but not in the right way.
It's so close because they're both like C tier teams.
Like when I said that, what was the team? What was the game I said? Did I say
Arizona, Tennessee?
Yeah, like those teams are both so good that them being 50-50 makes sense because they're both so good that they can beat each other. But like Denver, New York is 50-50 because we don't know who will win.
The only reason why I say the Giants is because I like Daniel Jones and I like Saquon Barkley.
If Saquon plays week 1.
I'm erring on the side that he does. Either way, I like the Giants in this. But this one is like probably 51-49 for the Giants.
Percentage, right?
Coin flip, yeah.
Okay. Not the score.
No, score is going to be like
10-7. Yeah, I don't know. This game, I'm gonna go Giants, and I think it's by, I would say max, absolute max. Giants win by 7.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like I could see this one legitimately. I could see this one being like 17-10 or 20-17.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or it's gonna end up being something weird like 12-16.
Yeah, just like yeah, I could see it. I agree. But we'll go
Sunday
night. This is the Andy Dalton. Keep that in mind. Chicago Bears going into the now Matthew Stafford led LA Rams.
I was gonna say if this was Justin Fields led Bears, this would be the game I'd be most excited about.
I agree.
My
outcome for this game does not change.
No.
Depending on who's playing for Chicago at QB. I think the Rams still win it because I just think Stafford's that good.
I think Stafford and the Rams defense are that good against Andy Dalton. Even if it's Fields, I still think the Rams win by a slimmer margin. But this is pretty much which offense is better at this point because Bears, Rams both have insanely good defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford-led Rams are better than a Dalton-led Bears.
Correct.
Period.
100%.
And I give them 10 to 14 point.
I was going to say 14 to 17 is my range for this win.
Okay.
I'm thinking something like
17-28.
I was going to say it's 18 points, but 35-17. Could be a feasible score for this, right? Like Andy Dalton throws 2 touchdowns, they kick a field goal.
Yep.
Stafford throws 4 touchdowns and then they run for 1.
Yeah.
Like that's how I see this game going.
Agreed.
To me though, this being a Sunday night game is
I'm not upset about it.
It is definitely watchable, right? There are some times where you get primetime games like this and you're like,
why?
You gave us that? But for a week 1, this is a good choice. I would have rather have had Cleveland, Kansas City.
Or Justin Fields.
Or Arizona, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Or LA, Washington. Or Seattle, Indy.
There's a handful of games that would fit this slot better, but I'm not upset about this.
Yeah.
There's a handful of good matchups this week.
This week, Thursday, Sunday night, and Monday night are all games that I would recommend watching. They're all they're all good matchups.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we both pick Rams. I don't think there's much else to it.
Nope. The
But
final game of the
final
week,
game.
Monday night. The Ravens and the Raiders.
The
Gruden Raiders.
We got the Lamar Jacksons versus the John Grudens.
I don't know. This game is another one that I feel like it's like 55-45 coin flip.
Is this Las Vegas's first time having fans?
In the stadium, I believe so, in Allegiant.
That's gonna be exciting.
I believe so. Ooh, I did not consider that. That is a factor. Home field advantage is always a factor, but when it's the first game in a new stadium, I'm going to consider this their first game in the new stadium. I know they played there last year, but that doesn't count. Ooh, that changes things a little bit. I think this could be one of the best games of the week.
I agree. I'm still giving an edge to the Ravens, despite if this was in Baltimore, the advantage would be much larger.
Yes.
With it being in LV, definitely narrows it.
I was going to say, the fact that it's in first time with fans Allegiant Stadium changes this from like a 14-point win to like a 3-7, I think. I think it's going to be a whole lot closer because of that.
I'm thinking like a 24-17 win for Baltimore.
I feel like this game's going to be super high scoring. I don't know why. I feel like this is going to end up being like 35-31.
I would like that. Monday night.
Finish
also,
out the
please let Gus Edwards run for a lot. I've drafted him in 2 leagues.
He's gonna be. They're gonna have to put him on. They're gonna have to count his carries week to week. His load is gonna be insane this year.
Yeah, they got to make sure he doesn't run more than 10 times because any running back that does for Baltimore ends up tearing a ligament.
Honestly, yeah. Well, hopefully they can call up. Is that? I guess that's the right way to say that.
Call up from the practice squad, yeah.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell.
Hopefully they bring up Le'Veon Bell soon enough so they can take some of the load off. I don't think
I
they
personally
can do
think
it this week, but
I think they should have taken Todd Gurley over Le'Veon Bell. I don't think Bell fits. Like, to me, he just doesn't seem like he fits that.
He's a third down back. If that's all they use him as is a third down back to get 3 or 4 yards at a time, I see him fitting.
But see, I would have Todd Gurley seems like it fits more of the like we're gonna run at you smash mouth type of offense that this team likes to run. It's also why they keep losing running backs because they like to run the ball so much.
Because
I feel bad because I think J.K. Dobbins was gonna have like a 1,500-yard season. Honestly,
he is already the way too early comeback player of next year.
Pretty much. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, he is already way up there. Poor Dobbins.
But that will do it for our week 1.
We both picked Ravens on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like insane though. It's close. It's a close game.
And for the sake of Team Chaos, I hope I didn't pick a single one right.
Me too, because we both picked Tampa.
Let the Lions take out the 49ers. Let Pittsburgh take out the Bills.
Let Cleveland beat Kansas City. Let Jacksonville and Houston tie.
Oh, God.
None of those teams are good enough to win. Just let them tie.
Runs the game out, ends up being a 9-9
You know how horrible that game is? The ref's going to flip the coin, and it's going to land on its side. The ref's like...
No, they're just going to flip the coin and be like, all right, run for a field goal, or run the ball, get a field goal. Just finish this game.
No, the ref is going to flip it. It's going to land on the center. He's going to look at both teams and go, we'll call it a draw. And all the fans will clap and go home. And everyone will be like, you know what? That's better than us losing.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that's the best outcome for both of them.
Well,
Lord.
That will do it. Week 1 starts tomorrow.
Week 1 starts tomorrow.
We are here. And my question is, Eddie.
Yes.
Do you have a fact?
course.
Okay. What is my number?
See, okay, this one is not going to be a number. It's just going to be a straight up question.
Okay.
It's a two-parter.
Okay, I'm ready.
Well,
I'm not ready.
ask you the first part of it,
Okay, I'm ready.
and I'll figure out how to do the second part. What day of the year is the most food consumed in the U.S.?
Wait, I know this. Why do I know this? Why do I know this?
Probably
It's not.
because you celebrate it every year.
Is it? It's not. Is it Thanksgiving?
It is Thanksgiving.
And there's always the Cowboys and Lions that play every Thanksgiving. And for
Mhm.
some reason, they added a third game, which I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why. You know what the second day of the year, or the second on that leaderboard, I'll call it, for most consumed food is?
No.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh well.
I don't know. I thought it would have been the holidays. I thought it would have been Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter.
Thanksgiving makes sense.
Thanksgiving makes sense. Oh, all the holidays make sense.
Christmas, my family, we've never really had like a Christmas feast
Okay,
because
so maybe it's
we
not
do
as
ours.
common.
We do ours separately. So like Christmas Eve is when we do like gifts. Then
Mm.
Christmas Day is when you get your stocking full of stuff.
Okay, so we always do.
And
Yeah,
I was
we
saying
do everything
New Year's
same
is just
day.
appetizers across the board. Like no one has like you don't throw like a feast on New
Well,
Year's.
we don't throw a feast, but we always have black-eyed peas for good luck, something green for money, and ham because ham.
I like that argument. We have ham. Why? Ham.
I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason to it, but it's always been ham. I don't know why.
Um,
The other thing I was gonna ask, and with the knowledge you now have about the most food, what day of the year are the least amount of weddings?
is it Super Bowl Sunday?
Yes.
Geniuses. I love people. If my future wife is like, "Hey, we're gonna have our wedding early February," I'm gonna go, "Nope,
No, we're not.
we can do it late February."
No, no. We could do it early February, and we're honeymooning at the Super Bowl.
Nope, we're having our wedding at the Super Bowl on the
That's
field.
the halftime show.
That's it. Right there. Sold.
Everyone paid $40,000 for their ticket. Who are these people?
Do you, Justin?
Yeah, just hey, do that and let that start the halftime show. Have like Lady Gaga be your.
Can I have Brendan Urie?
I like Brandon Urie better.
I will
Him
leave
be
my
your officiant
I will leave my wife for him.
at the altar.
Oh man.
And that starts the wedding, or that starts the Super Bowl halftime show.
And he's just like, you gotta have high hopes.
I was about to start saying the Little Dicky song.
Oh no.
Molly?
Honestly, I think I got those songs mixed up. But friends, that will
I
do
don't
it.
remember.
This episode before we sit here and ramble like we
The
usually
long-
do for
yeah.
the next 7 years, because this episode has been like 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
At least 2.5 hours long. Not sorry at all.
Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoy the episode. Reminder, we do live stream our episodes at twitch.tv/meme streams 32 teams. You can find the episodes on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Just search meme streams 32 teams. It will pull it up for you. You can tweet at us at memes 32 teams. Tweet us anything that we say that you don't like, things that you do like, your fantasy football teams, fantasy lineups, if you need any help, etc. Send it our way. We will do our best to help you. Caveat, we are not held liable for any loss of funds due to fantasy football losses.
Or other.
We do not have a lawyer but me, and I am not a lawyer. I don't know if that's legally binding. But we can't help you, but we can.
We will give you our best opinion.
Exactly.
Don't accept it.
Yeah, it depends.
Unless you agree.
Yeah, we'll see. But again, that will do it for episode 42. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We love you guys, and we'll see you guys next week after week 1 with episode 43. Peace.
Bye.